Sweet. Do you do anything in there? Is that your garage or your basement? Where you at?
No, it's my basement. It's my like rec room down here, so it's my office.
Do you like do you have do anything workout stuff there, or is it all just work stuff?
No, yeah, no, it's all just like kids' playground.
Yeah.
My sauna's over there, and then my desk is over here with all my work stuff. And then like the kids have like an extra like giant TV and a rec room kind of thing for them. So
Oh, that's cool. What kind of sauna do you have?
yeah, it looks so awesome behind me.
Yeah.
Infrared sauna. So
Is
yeah.
that better than the normal one, or is the normal one better? 'Cause I've heard both ways.
Well, one is sort of what you have and what you don't have kind of deal. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So, it's pretty good for an inside sauna. So it's not that big a deal. It was like a huge deal. My wife bought it on like Marketplace. So it was like, shout out to Facebook, right? It's like, oh, somebody like literally the guys came in, said it was a birthday gift for me. The guys came in, set it up, and like it came in panels, and boom, here you go. You got a sauna. So I was like, all right, never gonna turn that down.
You use it a lot?
Yeah, yeah, I do my best. I probably don't use as much as I should. Some people are like in a sauna every night. I'm like, okay, well, that seems like a little crazy for me, but it's like when I get a chance to do it maybe once a week, that kind of thing.
Well, I had one of these early sponsors. They sent me that ice bath, like a homemade ice bath that you turn your tub. So I got a big ass, bougie tub, so I was able to make it into like an ice tub. It was pretty good. I haven't used it. I have it right
Wow.
there. Do you do the
Yeah, I
ice
have it
stuff?
right there, but I never used it.
I used it
So
twice.
I have an ice tub outside, which is right beside the hot tub, which makes that easier to like do the dunk and go
Yeah.
back and forth kind of thing. So
So you do
yeah.
that pretty often?
You know what? So funny enough, my last year I like had my open because my wife bought it for me for Christmas and I ended up having it out. And then all of a sudden it was like, oh, this is great. This is great. This is great. And then all of a sudden woof, it totally like froze up. So I'm like, oh, a giant wall of ice. And I was like, ah. So this year I thought I'd get ahead of it and I got a I guess it's like a little heater that goes in it, right? I guess it's the same thing
Heater in your ice bath because
for
you're in fucking
yeah,
Canada.
well, exactly. Yeah. You put a heater in for cow troughs, right? So
Yeah.
so it just keeps circulating and then it'll get really cold, but it won't freeze. And then it got colder than that and
So
it
how
froze.
cold
So
is it? You're getting in there. You're getting like in fucking 30. Well, I guess you're like 32, like right freezing pretty
yeah,
much.
no,
That's cold.
you get it pretty cold for
That's
sure.
colder than
Yeah.
I like to do. I like 45 or so.
Yeah, pretty much I'd say like 45 is pretty much where I'd rather get in. But it's like once it gets colder than that, you're like, okay, man, that's what I'm doing. So,
Damn. That's cool. So we haven't, I guess, I mean, we talk pretty regularly. We haven't talked super recently. What's going on at the gym and with your guys? Who are
uh
you working with?
I just worked with Robin again. I did another video and I
Is he
did
back to like doing normal shit with his bicep or what?
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, he's all cured up now. Everything's
Is it
working
fucked
great.
looking or he
He's
looks okay?
oh, it actually looks better
Porn?
than his other side. That is
Okay.
yeah, it's actually
Some
well
people,
the
some people, if
doctor
it's a little small tear, it can make shit look kind of cool sometimes.
yeah, you get that like kind of crazy
Yeah.
bicep, you know what I mean? Well, he already has pretty high tendons,
Yeah.
and and then he tore the one, he tore his other one, and the doctor at least said, "Oh, you want me to fix both of them?" And I think he bailed out. He was just like, "Oh God, I don't think I can handle like, because you'd be in two braces. It's like, who's wiping my ass, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, what do I do? Oh my gosh, And I think it was already stressful enough. So he was like, you know what? No, I think I'm just gonna repair the recent one, kind of thing. And it was only it was a small tear down at the distal end that it kind of pulled up a little bit. I think it was maybe 2 centimeters that it pulled up, so they could kind of pull it back down. They didn't have to do like even usually when you see like a motorcycle accident, it tears right off and they have to drill it into the other side. His actually could be anchored properly on that side. So it's only really a small kind of horizontal scar that, looks great. So it's not going to be a big deal. But he's starting to do the same therapy I do now. So he's taking a year off to like just train and devote time to studying. And so he looks like a silverback gorilla right now. So he's doing fine. He's doing
Who
fine.
who else do you got? Were you doing Savoy? It wasn't Savoy. Who else? Yeah, another big fucking
Yeah,
dude,
yeah,
right?
Justin. So I see that I train actually on Monday. I do a video with both of them. It's like,
Oh, sick.
okay, two giant
Yeah.
bodybuilders at the same time. That's going to be great for a back workout. You can imagine.
Oh, sick.
And then today I did one of the guys up here, Gregory Dawson. He's a classic pro. Not I mean a local guy. I don't think he's international. Crazy whatever. But obviously a pro, and I just worked with him today for a chest workout, so that should be coming up pretty good sometime
Cool.
soon. Yeah. But
Nice.
again, these guys don't really understand. So many, even though they're bodybuilders, there's so many like all my life I've been chest up. All my life I've been
Funny.
lifting my chest up and everything. I was like, you're doing an incline press. Like, what is going on? You're doing a decline press. What are you doing? It's
Well,
hey, you got to kind of control your rib cage and hey, guess where those shoulder blades get to go? And oh
well
my
that
God, I could.
that was one of the things that I kind of didn't love that Joe would say that was kind of the RTS thing is where they would be talking about like, you know, change your angle by changing your sternum. So arch, 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 like get rid of the low ribs, and you can, if you want to do more of a flat press on an incline, just arch, and now it's a flat press. I'm like, well, do a flat press with your rib cage neutral. Like, don't turn an incline into a
Yeah,
flat press. Like, I don't know if that's
yeah.
RTS or that was just Joe, but that was
No,
what
I
you.
think I think Joe's misinterpreted that a little bit. So Tom would actually go through um, Tom would actually go through, at least in classes that I've taken, he would go through and talk about skewing load through a pec. But again, it's the RTS thing is kind of like creating an opportunity, right? It's like this is who should be doing the work. If I create the force lines, this is who should go to the work, right? And but ultimately, then you get a bunch of humans trying to figure out how to fuck with that too. And so Tom doesn't have a problem with arching, but he would arch at least again based on what I would interpret he didn't have a problem with arching. He just wouldn't do the big rib cage way
Yeah,
open position. So he'd be like, "Oh, you want to arch? No problem. Here's how you
yeah.
control an arch." I was like, "Okay, you want to skew this into a decline? No
But
problem."
why does that get lost? Like I see
I,
Joe, but everybody who like
uh,
says that never does it.
yeah, I mean, Joe actually does. I've seen Joe pop open his rib cage pretty far, and
Yeah,
I don't know. Joe has. I don't know if Joe still got a bunch of Ben. Ben tends to do it too. Still gets in that weird rib cage expansion thing. It drives me bonkers. But
yeah,
um, I don't know. It's such a merge. Like you almost have to go back to old saved files and like, save a new file because it's like they go right back to something they've done for so long and all of a sudden there they are again. I've watched Joe. I think I see some stuff where, and he's really solid what he does. But again, you go back to an old video of what he's doing, and you're like, there it is again, big rib cage flaring out, and so not to be critical of people's stuff. And there's all kinds of videos where people could have done something better, but it's back to the same. Like, oh, we've always done this since bodybuilding, since powerlifting merged into bodybuilding, and they can't just pull it out. Like it's just, or they're using a weight that they can't change it because the weight's too heavy to even come close to a different strategy.
yeah.
So I think that's like you're kind of down that road so far that you're like, oh, I'd have to go this far back to change that. And somehow either I'm invested in it or it's so ingrained there that I just can't go back that far. I
Yeah.
find that sort of one of the bigger challenges, or even breathing. How far do you have to push people back to even finding breathing pattern that actually represents? But when you have a load on somebody that's so heavy or a range that is so deep, and then the strategy to get that load that heavy and that deep turns into, oh, this is where I'm doing this to my rib cage, and I'm back to like, oh, what are we really trying to challenge here? Like guys, like, well, I feel shoulder, chest, sort of chest, oh, and I'm like, you don't even feel chest there.
A lot of times stuff sounds good, but then like when you watch them, sometimes it's like, okay, well, what you're saying actually is pretty right. Like I would agree with that, but in the practice of it is not exactly the same thing. Who I just had on, who was a cool dude, was Jordan. Jordan Shallows. You ever
Yeah,
interact
yeah,
with
yeah,
him?
Jordan, yeah,
Is he
yeah,
up there
yeah.
ever? You ever go to Pure? I know he's up in that area.
Yeah, no, he was up in Pure for a good chunk of time post COVID, and then obviously he went out on his world tour of wherever he
Dude,
goes,
that dude
and
travels all over.
yeah, I mean, he loves big words though. I'll tell you that. If you could say something the most simple way possible, he'd find like 20 different words he could use to say it in the most complex way. So, I mean, he's a
I'm
smart
sure people say
guy.
that about me. I don't know if I felt like because we were kind of speaking slightly different languages, so I guess he didn't really use that
Sure.
so much with me. But yeah, but like I know people have said that about me, but sometimes it's like it's the only way to express certain things in this model. You know what I mean? So it's kind of
Well,
like,
so the challenge of like when you start dealing with acronyms and stuff, then people get a little lost because they're like, I write AOC something
yeah.
this, like AIC something, and now you're getting into like I got to teach you some kind of verbiage to give you a map. You know what I mean? But I mean, Jordan is very smart, very smart. Obviously, I've never seen him do chiropractic, but it doesn't mean he doesn't do it. Um, just because I didn't see it, but whatever. But he's very smart and he deals with a lot of stuff. But again, if I'm going to be critiquing somebody, it just sounds like, dude, up and down is not that hard to say up and down. Like it just seems like he spends a lot of time like we already bought in. You're already smart. You don't have to prove to me that you can say words other than up and down.
Whenever
Um,
I got the vibe from him, which was, I've talked to a lot of people now doing this,
sure.
I like 100. I mean, obviously, and in real life, in Hollywood and all these, but out of even like in Hollywood with all the actors, like he's one of the most. I just gave off such of like a vibe of confidence. He seemed like one of the most confident dudes
Oh
I've
no, yeah,
ever like. Not a bad
yeah.
thing, just
No,
just
no,
like.
no. Yeah, he's very confident dude. I'll give you that for
Which is
sure.
that's
Yeah, he's
cool. That's got to be cool to go
yeah,
through life with that just oozing out of you because obviously you don't
yeah.
feel that way if you're fucking don't know your shit. But it was I
Well,
don't
the
know. It was
funny
just
part is, so
interesting.
I have bodybuilders that come up to me after they're working with Jordan, and they come back to me, and I'm like the defrag guy that has to explain what the fuck he just said. You know what I mean? Like, well, that means little bump, that means big bump, that means it's like I have to explain his verbiage because he decided to, almost like you got to come up to me. I'm going to talk this way, and in the fitness community, and God bless him, he's obviously doing really well. I'm happy for him, anybody. But it's almost like when I talk to doctors or I'm talking, it's like I'm going out of my way to say the most simple way. And eventually they think I don't know the big words. And I'm like, no, man, I understand the big words. But most of the time I have to take it apart and say this really complex thing in the most simple understanding, and that's when I get some doctors kind of look at me like, right. Okay, man. Yeah. Okay. I get it. Like I don't need to hoard it over you. Like you're already buying a session with me. Do I need to, do I need to convince you that I know the big words? Like, so we don't really need to use those, do we?
Yeah, I feel like I'm a very big mix of the two. Sometimes I'm very intuitive with my words, very basic, and then other times I don't have another way to do it. So that's
Yeah. Well,
fine.
that's the challenge is like, oh my God, I have to teach you the map before I can talk to you about the map, like, and so sometimes I laugh when I'm talking to students, like, therapy students, and I'm kind of saying, look, a bunch of this is language going on in your head. If you have to start talking this out loud, this is not client speak, like if you need to, hear yourself speak, this is about you trying to feel comfortable or trying to feel powerful or something. And half the time, you don't need to use those words, or the client doesn't need to understand that. The whole let me teach you how an engine works before I talk about how an engine works.
Yeah.
Like it's like, no, no, man, I just need you to fix it. Like, we're good. I trust you. You can fix it.
One of the questions I asked, I don't have anything prepared for us today either, besides the four
Sure.
critiques and some video and some questions. But I always like when I feel like we shoot the shit pretty good. But
Yeah.
one of the questions I asked Jordan, and it's a weird question, but maybe you'll have something to add to it. It was kind of like, at least with the model that I use and we use a lot, it's kind of like force production equals loss of movement options, right? Like that just kind of goes hand in hand. Like if you're a high level,
Yep.
power lifter,
Yep.
or you're a pitcher, like whatever, like
Yep.
that stability almost becomes a like that like the having to stabilize all that movement options almost becomes a hamper when you're trying to sync up things super fast. And so
Hmm.
what a lot of people that do what I do, and people I really respect, like Bill and Dr. Pat, I feel like a lot of them really kind of tie in that force production like directly to hypertrophy when obviously there's a link, right? But what I want, like, because I always hear them talking about how you're just if muscle is your goal, you're gonna lose just so many movement options because you're just producing so much force. When I the way I think of it, like that like massive force production, that's actually at the expense of like a lot of yielding. And you can think of like time under tension, right? Like you don't want to spend a lot of time on the ground. If you could have a high ground contact time in explosive sport, you're fucking sucking. And so
Hmm.
I just don't know how much options bodybuilders need to lose in order to like build muscle, right? Because do we need as much massive force production on the system, or do we need more localized stress and failure on the tissue? So I'm just wondering, how do you look at this? How do you kind of think about this and balance it out with like bodybuilders, aesthetic people? Obviously, totally different with athletic stuff.
Yeah, I mean, athletics is its own thing. Not to say bodybuilders aren't athletes, but what I
We're
find
very
is,
not athletic. We're training it out of our
yeah, I
system
mean,
a
at
lot.
some point you're like watching a bodybuilder run, you're like, oh my gosh. And then you get some crossover people, but obviously in elite bodybuilding, they've decided the lane they're going to be in, and you're not going to be like, they go play hockey, like they go
Yeah,
play
but there's a
soccer.
difference,
Like,
right, between like
no.
an Antoine versus like I compared him and Ian Valle. It's like,
Sure, yeah, Ian, no offense to Ian, he doesn't look like he's running out there playing hockey or doing
yeah,
backflips, you know what I mean? So it's like, so some of these guys have decided, look, this is the lane I'm going, and some of them already have metrics. It's not like you take a champion or Samson and say, hey, let's learn to skate.
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But if he learned to skate, he learned how to skate a long time ago and has maintained
Well,
that.
have you
You can
seen have
all,
you seen James do that? James Hollinshead?
no, I
Dude,
haven't.
he
No.
fucking was getting wild on the skates at like 300 pounds because
There
he
you
did it when he
go.
was younger, and people were like,
There you
"Please fucking
go.
stop." He was like doing the tricks at the fucking nothing crazy, but he would like do
But
switches and stuff.
for sure, but there would be like a metric that I can maintain. I already have. But if somebody said, you know what, you're 300 pounds, world class bodybuilder, you should learn to skate. It'd be like, oh, this is a disaster because there's
Yeah,
sort of
if
a,
you're already built,
this
but what
would
about
be,
like building it, like in that process, like you're
well,
starting?
yeah, if it was part of it throughout, it's like a skill you could use as a maintenance thing. But the other day, the question you're asking me about is sort of the do you just max out force production and eventually you're just down to these challenging parts. What I would say is that the big thing that we're going to kind of look at, maybe if you take this back a little bit, is when you're looking at doing single unilateral movements, or you're doing, like force production is going to go fucking sideways. You can't do this crazy force production because you got all these stability challenges or single limb or something. And say somebody says, well, then it's not worth doing because I can't produce too much. I can't use as much weight or I can't produce as much force. I'm like, well, there's all kinds of internal forces, right, that are going on that are just maxing out like crazy, but you're limited by your stability factors, right? And so eventually it turns into like, how can I move something the shortest distance to produce the most force? And I'm like, I'm not sure that produces the most. Um, I think that produces the most congruency to like, that's the task. And I'm not sure that's going to produce the most bodybuilder. Does that make sense? This idea of you want to move the most weight. Tom, at least what I learned from Tom and RTS would be, oh, start adding more and more layers of stability. So you can just get less and less things kind of moving or have more and more things you could lock in. So there's just all that force on one space, right? Make it sort of available only to one. Is again, it's like block that motion, block that motion, block that motion. There's only one guy left. That's where it's going to go. And then max out the weight load or the challenge or all those things. But what you're leaving open is you're kind of building that specialization model again. You're starting, just where a bodybuilder will, or sorry, an Olympic lifter, or it'll be like, oh, everything goes to this. And we get really good at this. And obviously, the guys that go in the gym are really good at doing what they're doing. So they start getting more skill, kind of almost specializing. But what ends up happening to me, at least what I see from the therapy side, is you start leaving open, to converge everything into that direction. You might start leaving open some of these sussed out directions that you have to deal with, that is going to allow you to lift for longer. Like that whole specialization model could be great, but it's like, oh, I power lift, I do these three things, this is what I do, and everything keeps getting better and better at that. All the other things that maybe are assisting lifts, because I eventually, oh, I just can't get any better, so now I do these assisting lifts that are sort of, some kind of sussing around that keep, oh, more and more force production in those directions. Now I can bench press more. Now I can squat more and I can deadlift. But why would you ever do this other dorsiflexion thing? Oh, fuck, that has nothing to do with anything. And it's like, well, those are holes, or those are parts of things that are supposed to move together. And the idea of you have to power lift to be better at powerlifting. I'm like, well, yeah, sure, no problem. But there are pieces of other things in that. And if you train something in isolation and turn around and say, hey, better leg extension turns into better squats. No, it doesn't look like squats. And I'm like, no, but better leg extension is still part of a bunch of stuff. Your body will suss out and bring those things to the party. So could you work in isolation, or could you start and stop? I had an athlete that's a masters bodybuilder, and I just play with all kinds of. I mean, they're up. This is a couple that I train, and they're up for anything. They pretty much whatever I do, I can just change the dials and it can shift. And so we do, let's say, leg extension as a simple example, and I'm always doing, okay, you're gonna do 10 reps, and then you do 5 cent, like I want 5 second concentric reps. So show me 5 5 second reps at the end of that 10 set. And it's like brutal, right? And then I do a stop start. So I want everybody go up as double and come down as a single. And then so now you're doing a an eccentric with double the load on the way down. Like I play with all kinds of those things. And one day, last week, I trained them. And I said, okay, you're just going to show me straight sets. Show me 10 straight sets. Like, show me 10 reps just straight. And he's looking at me like, what? What's the catch? Right? And I'm like, let's just see how strong you fucking are. Right? Let's just see. And sure enough, he's at a max stack of some crazy load on the leg extension. He's maxed it out. And I'm like, so you have never lifted that heavy in your life. You have never lifted that heavy with me, but somehow you're now lifting load that you were never able to load before. And I never visited that load, right? How do you get that strong having never visited that load? And I'm like, I've been doing all these loading and stop starts, and I'm doing all these other profiles of trying to get you just ridiculously strong and able to be stable in all these positions. And all of a sudden, he's moving load and leg extension he's never even dreamed of. And I never visited that load. So all the periodization, stuff that people would say, oh, you have to do this and then this percentage. I'm like, I never visited those numbers. All they did was really hard stuff. Do you know what I mean? And to the world of you, well, wait, aren't I supposed to go to 200 and then I go to 220 and then I said, I've never visited those numbers with him, but everything I've done is super hard. And all of a sudden I said, okay, let's just see what kind of strength training have we been doing? And he was shocked. His jaw's on the ground. Like, I've never lifted that weight in my life. I've never, and he's doing it for reps. So this is where people think you have to move that load to move that load. I'm like, no, you have to do something really hard,
Hmm.
right? And all those other, timing schemes, rep schemes, show me this, and all these different things are all options for you to really suss out. There's no broken parts on this. Now let's see what you got. And so he's like bulletproof by the time I got there, right? Versus you keep trying to just say, well, just more load and more load, and as you keep stacking all that, some of these guys are just kind of turning Swiss cheese. Like you're kind of getting so narrow with how you're like load is the most important thing. Meanwhile, they've changed speed, they've changed profile, they've changed like they can't stop if they tried. It's all like they've found every way to get up there. They change their breathing, their posture, whatever, just to find a way to deal with the load. And then somehow they hit a plateau because there's just no more strategies available. They've used every strategy to cheat their way there. And then all of a sudden you got an injury, you got trauma, you got stuff that's wear and tear, and you just didn't make it wide enough. Do you know what I mean? Everything's just been like so pinned to be so tight. Do you find it something like that?
Yeah, what you're saying too makes me think about when I was pretty deep into like the FRC ISM stuff, the internal strength model, because the whole thing is like break down the components of the bigger movement you're trying to get better at. So if you're doing trying you're stuck in your squat, well, let's fucking get you really good at hip flexion, let's get you really good at internal rotation, let's get really
Yeah,
good at knee extension. So all the stuff you're talking about. So same thing, we would really fucking hammer those through like positional isometrics or even just load those and then
yeah,
do lower work like a lot of isos and stuff, and then same thing when you start to go to fucking actually put weight, it's just like people are like, what the fuck, like you strengthen all the parts of it, and you strengthen
yeah.
mechanoreceptor
Uh,
kind of awareness, so it's all
Yeah,
gonna.
all the links in the chain are stronger. Oh, wait a minute, integrated strength, right? So,
Yeah, I feel like just the kind of the whole like mechanisms of hypertrophy are kind of like obviously not completely understood as far as like, because like I said, like for so let's like, what do you think? It sounds like you kind of do what I do. You do a little bit of both, but like if you
yeah,
have somebody who can make it, like say they can do two, like a plate and a quarter and a hack squat, and they can make that fucking impossible, so where they fell at like eight or nine, like perfect form, good tension. And if they
yeah,
just like are a little bit less intense with that internal irradiation or pressure, and then
mm,
whatever you want to think of it, they're not sloppy, but they're not dialed
sure.
in. They maybe not feeling quite as much local tension on VL stuff, maybe just a little more spread out.
Hmm.
But say they do like, three and a quarter for 8 to 10 and they're hitting failure, and it's not a shit failure, it's just a different kind of thing. Like, do you touch both of
Hmm.
those or do you think one is better than the other?
So if I had to favor, I'd be favoring the guy. just trying to make the 1 1/4 feel like three
Yeah,
and a quarter.
me
Do you
too.
know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like I'd be like, man, because eventually there's nothing else for me to do at 1 1/4.
yeah,
Like there's no other trick I can put on you. And then guess what? Now we're at 2 plates. And then we do it all again. Do you know what I mean? But meanwhile, the muscular stress versus CNS stress are two different
yeah.
things, right? And so typically this came up in a discussion with a couple guys, and it's like, well, they did all the work. So it's always the grass is greener, right? So imagine I'm not big enough because I'm not strong enough. So that's a pretty easy question for most guys. Well, I'm obviously not strong enough. Okay. How do you get bigger? Lift more weights. Okay. Then so they climb that mountain and they lift weight, and obviously you're going to see some growth and you're going to see some change, and a bunch of those other things are going to happen because you're just moving more load, some of which is being dispersed, some of it's being directed,
Oh, this makes me
whatever.
think about trail so much.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah. So he's like, well, I guess I could just throw it everywhere, right? And on some level, it's being directed because it's an incline press. It's probably going to go to some of the tissues, whatever. But eventually, you're kind of, again, we go down this road of just everything just to move more weight, move more weight. And again, I sort of see this path of you're not putting it anywhere you really want to put it, but it's sort of in the area, and it's not terrible, but again, at some point, these guys put enough weight on. They are now strong enough. They've seen, and then you see this pro level bodybuilder, who's kind of like, okay, I'm now big, and somebody says, okay, just get better. And they're like, when I climbed the mountain, there's no more, like I worked with a pro hockey player, and he's grown up as a squat. He's a Swedish player, so he's definitely grown up. His dad was a pro. Him and his brother are pro, and he's been a squatter all his life, right? And he's got hip interrotation for days. It's like, oh my god, you're just built, right? And his style of hockey is, stop, start, change direction. So his hips are like built for that, right? Like a downhill skier, like crazy amount of interrotation, 90 degrees. So his style of hockey, but he can tolerate 4 plates for squats without even a blink, right? And his dad is like, yeah, squatting is the thing, and squatting is the thing. He's like, look, I've been squatting 4 plates since whatever. Like, I don't know if it's worth it, Dad. And I'm already a multi-millionaire, whatever. I'm not sure it's worth it, like squatting more than this. Like, when you can't, it always seems like there's an answer, but then you can. And I was like, what's left to climb? Like squatting 5 plates, would that be,
Does that have any
and
transfer? You know?
no,
Yeah.
no, that's what he's arguing is
Yeah.
like we're kind of up to a base level of strength.
Yeah.
And when I don't have it, it makes it like that seems like if you climb that mountain, you'll be way better. But now he's climbed that mountain, and now he's dealing with a bit of a knee thing going on. And he's like, yeah, I don't know if like, squatting more than 365 for, 15, 20 reps is worth it.
Yeah.
Like I can squat 365. What's the 405 worth? You know what I mean? And so this is where it always looks like there's a grass greener scenario, if I'm not big enough, just get heavier, just get, and then it's like, okay, well, wait a minute. We go right back to this idea that you've decided this, and the body goes, okay, that's what we're going to do. And everything starts to converge, and you've got to hope that it transfers. And that's the one thing is like this doesn't transfer to, like you kind of just put all your eggs in one basket. It doesn't transfer. Now you're left with what am I going to do now? My entire business is looking at world class bodybuilders and saying like, well, there's no more weight to lift. Now what do I do? Right? And you're like, okay, yeah. I don't think going to 12 plates aside on a row is worth like now I got elbow pain, now I got
Yeah.
shoulder pain. Now it's like, yep, pretty sure we lost the plot here.
I just can't imagine it being just a bad thing to feel it more in your muscle and to be more sore in the muscle. Like I feel like I got beat with baseball bats when I was really doing higher volume, but it was only in all my muscle tissues, like my joints and everything. Like I was all good, but my
Yeah.
muscles were like achingly sore. And like as a bodybuilder, it's hard for me because I'll do it. Like sometimes like I was literally talking about myself on my new hack squat because I was like dying with a plate and a quarter, and then I went up and it's like it just didn't feel I didn't feel the muscle as good. Like I felt muscle,
Yeah.
felt
All of a sudden
awesome.
you're like, well, I'm doing it, and and so the internal battle is funny, right? Because you as a coach are going like, I know I let my steering wheel change a little bit, and now I'm moving, almost twice the weight, but I know I changed something. do I, and now I don't feel something. I don't feel connected to something, but I move more weight, but there's that dial of like, ah,
Yeah,
fuck,
and well, it's like if
like
it's only like 10% less, 15% less, but it's like a lot more weight. But I'm like, no, I know, like just I've always connected to my
I
body in that
I
way. It's
gotta
like,
I gotta dial back. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But obviously you're very good at connecting to yourself, and obviously your tools are helping you quite a bit, and sort of understanding your body more than, but you're the expert for you,
yeah,
right? And so the funny part is when they get attached to something outside, I'm like, guys, I just watched something with Nick Walker talking about, he used to do 80-pound side laterals on one unilaterally. It
yeah.
was on Instagram or something. And he goes, yeah, all I had was shoulder pain, and he goes, I used to do 50-pound curls and now I'm doing 20-pound curls. And I feel my arms are growing. It's like
So,
I watched Samson talking to
oh Jesus,
Sam Sulek, right? And he's like, what are you doing? Like, you're never gonna grow. And there's Sam just,
because he's just
you
doing
know,
like
uh,
so
yeah, just
much.
doing
But
Samson, yeah,
yeah,
doing what Sam does, and God bless the kid, but it's like, what kind of athlete are you? Are you trying to grow or you're trying to just move weight? So that's where I think when you don't have it, you think more weight is going to be the answer, and then you get there, you're like, wait, this isn't the only answer. Like you've trained lots of bodybuilders. Is it dialing it? Is like, how can we get you getting more weight, or is it more, how do we dial this in?
yeah.
You
It's
know?
when I think about Trell, like on the video I posted of, so you can literally hear him 20 times just being like what the fuck, like that pump, like there's so much more. I'm
Yeah.
like.
Whoa.
It's
Right where I
not
want
like
it to
he was far
go.
off. Yeah, it's not like he's got far
Yeah.
off form, but it's just dialing that in just a little bit more. It's
Yeah, I mean, you and I can watch his form. God bless him. He's really always interested. He's super eager to try and learn. He sends me videos, and I'm always like, okay, move your feet. No, why are you going so deep? What are you doing there? Move your feet up. Like, he's following every sort of young guy's rule of like, oh, you want this, do this,
yeah,
and then he's just a monster. So then I'm like,
strong.
but you're not feeling it where you're supposed to feel it. Well, yeah, my one knee hurts a little bit. And I'm like, dude, like,
I'm going to be
know.
there next month, so I'll be able to
Are you?
get back in there. Yeah.
I'm gonna threaten to come down and like kick his ass or
Well,
something,
he said he was gonna get
So
his passport. I'm gonna try to get him up there.
yeah, he told me he's gonna get his passport. I'm like, oh, okay,
So
the
that'd be cool. I'll
time's
definitely
coming.
come up there regardless.
Oh yeah,
Hopefully it
that'd
comes.
that'd be that'd be awesome. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll take a week off. We can just
Oh, sick.
train.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Do some stuff. So I figured I actually got some halfway decent questions. I feel like with you, I get good questions. Everyone else, I get just the shittiest questions. You guys got to get better
Oh,
questions.
I did see something. Remember you asked me about Janicki, and I did see one of his latest leg training thing because you were like, "What do you think about that?" And I was like, I kind of didn't really realize how much stuff. Like he does some pretty extreme range stuff, and I was
Yeah,
like that. You were obviously looking at stuff I was not looking at because I was like, well, it seems pretty solid. He's obviously very, very built dude, right? And then I
yeah,
watched him do that super ass to grass.
yeah.
I think he's on a ramp, and I don't
The
know if he's
wedge,
in.
the torque wedge,
Yeah,
Jay Warren. If you want 10% off,
holy
torque gear.
moly! But then I'm like, there's nothing touching this thing as he goes into that like sissy squat in a hack squat. I was just like,
Oh, his
oh,
sissy's pretty gnarly, huh? That one's pretty
oh
intense.
yeah, it's pretty crazy. But I'm just like, what could go wrong? Oh yeah, like
Yeah,
just
what I noticed.
fluke.
So
One
we
little move is like fluke.
Yeah, I know that's a good wedge. It's anchored down there. Those magnets are strong. Jay Warren, 10%.
Oh my goodness.
I went out there and trained with them, and we did chest, but we did a little bit of leg stuff too, just to kind of look at it. And that's one of the things that we were having a back and forth on because I was helping him with connecting some stuff on his pecs, and it was cool. And then he was like,
Nice.
then like one of the big things I talked about when because I did critique him. That's why he reached out to me. He wanted to go over it was his leg training and the fact that he's got huge fucking legs. I mean, if you look at his legs, they're fucking
Oh no, but
huge.
you see, I don't know what the time lane because I think he showed like here's what my legs used to look like, here they look like now, and it was like whoa, like he's
Yeah.
definitely
But
figured it
you can
out,
tell those are from deep ass to grass kind of stuff, like the adductors, just the meat, like the inner and stuff.
Oh yeah, you see all that stuff like kind of like
Yeah.
just pushing out the sides,
So
yeah,
what I
for
was trying to
sure.
get him to do was potentially like isolate a little more of like what I would call like the middle propulsion, the more IR biased phase of that. So just femurs are still
How tall?
IRing.
Can I ask how tall is he?
Eric's pretty tall. He's probably like 6'1", maybe.
Okay, so he's way
He's a
taller than I
big fucking
thought. Okay,
dude. He's
yeah, yeah,
at least
yeah,
6 foot. Yeah, he's a
yeah.
big fucking
Well,
dude.
sometimes I can't tell. It looks like some big guys are lifting with him, so I'm kind of like, well, I can't really. I mean, half the time in bodybuilding, you're like, oh, that guy's really big. And then I'm like, oh no, wait, he's 5'9". And then I'm
Yeah,
like, oh,
no,
okay,
he
well,
was fucking huge. He
yeah.
mogged me out. We fucking posed next to each other, which was fucking terrible. But he's because I did it with Christian right before. No, not Tristan right before. Who he's not bigger than me
You're a
at all.
giant.
But he's so
You're a
fucking
giant.
shredded. And so then I did
Yeah,
it with
yeah,
Eric,
yeah.
who was shredded and huge. So then I was like, oh fuck.
Yeah, you're
But
like,
uh, but
oh,
but
just
when I
take
was
your ball and go home.
yeah, exactly. And he's like a good looking bodybuilder, all of his hair and shit. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
fuck,
He's a good looking
got
dude. He's
everything on me.
shredded, big. Yeah, yeah,
But
for sure.
I was telling him because he was saying how he didn't really understand. He's like, I feel like if I stop at 90, he's like my knees hurt and stuff. But I was like when I was watching, I did his table test before. He had some pretty limited stuff, and also it's like you're squatting on a wedge in shoes. I was like you're a very
Yeah, he's
ER.
in Olympic shoes,
Yeah, I
right?
was like, you're in very
Yeah,
ER
okay.
representation, so you have a mismatch. I'm trying to bias you through internal rotation and your pelvis and your feet and everything else to try and keep you in ER. So I want to work with him. We'll do some legs after he's done prep because he said he wanted to connect because he's awesome. He just wants to like feel it, and he's got a great brain for stuff. He's a fucking athlete, so he connects to stuff. We were doing some stuff. He showed me some new stuff for buys and shoulders that I really liked. I've been doing a lot, so I really like that. People that are just high level and connected, but are welcome to absorb everything. So that was cool.
Yeah,
Do some more stuff.
that's great. Yeah, you know what? Just it's kind of funny. I like to play well with others, you know what I mean? I do play well with others, but it's like I just want to talk it through, you know. I can tell you why I'm making my decisions. And I had a little young kid come up um and joined me at lunch once, and he goes, oh yeah, and then he said, do you notice though, like your guys basically aren't lifting as much weight, you
Yeah.
know? And I was
Yeah, I
like,
did.
yeah.
I'm
And
proud of that.
every one of my guys
They're the
is
fucking
dying,
biggest
you
people in the
know.
goddamn gym,
Yeah,
too.
I've literally trained the biggest guys in the gym, and they're all dying. And then I had another guy come up to me, and it was a guy he trained, and I hadn't seen him for a while, and he came back and I was like, oh, he's a long, lanky guy, and he'd actually put on some weight, and I didn't even recognize him. And I was like, wow, I went over to say, wow, you look great, you know, like he was deadlifting, and I was like, wow, you really put on some size. I honestly didn't recognize you. Oh, thank you so much, you know. But then he said, you know, I really would love to work with you, you know. I'm just thinking one of these days I'm going to be worth working with that guy, you know. And I was like, oh, okay. Like that sounds very nice. And he goes, but I look over and you train the biggest guys in the whole gym and they're using half the weight I'm using and they're dying. So I'm thinking like, what is happening over there? Like, what is he doing to them that they're working that hard, right? And so ultimately, I don't think your muscle gives a shit about like what the number is on the bar. It's just stress, right? And so if you have internal forces, you know, to me, bodybuilding is sort of that world which I kind of preach is like, guys, you can squeeze your bicep right now and make it cramp, right? But there's no weight in your hand. So what made you squeeze that hard? Like, what made you squeeze that hard? And if you can't connect with that tissue, you're standing on stage like going, wait, where's my weights to make me flex? You know, like that seems like bodybuilding seems to me like the most should be the easiest to connect to the idea of flex your muscles. The passenger is the thing in your hand, you know what I mean? Or the passenger is the thing on your back or whatever it is. But they again fall in this trap of this exercise is a good recipe for this, you know. And then when they're not good, they think there's some secret recipe somewhere that they should somehow, you know, oh, there's some secret recipe that guy's doing. Regan is, you know, now well over 300 pounds. He's like, he looks huge. And you go, what's he doing? I should follow what he's doing. I'm like, look, man, he connects so well to his body. Like you just walk over and change one thing, and he's like, "Oh, thanks, man." You know, and it's like dialed in right away. You know, but it's like, "Oh, I didn't realize," and then he's locked in there. He's like that easy to cue. You know what I mean? And you look at his body, how well he moves, and you think, "Yeah, there's a reason, right?" It's not like he's doing some secret thing, right? Half the time, you know, Robin was talking about today. We did a session a while back, and as soon as the session was over, he started asking Robin all these questions. He looked over, he's like, "Why didn't you ask Eric when we're right here?" You know, but like he's such a good soldier, he'll do whatever you tell him to do. But sometimes he doesn't really understand the why. But as soon as he figures it out, it's like, oh, okay, no problem. right? No problem. Right now, he's like, oh, I could work through knee pain. I'm like, why would you want to work through knee
I fucking
pain?
hate that. I hate hearing that. Oh,
You
that's,
know?
I can just deal with it. Do you think
Yeah.
what are some of the benefits to like moving good beyond just looking and feeling good? Because like I don't know what it is, but I mean I've found that like when you move right and like respect the propulsive like cycle, like you tend to have better reactions. You tend to have better like gut health. I mean, people talk about lymphatic drainage and shit like that. Do you get into that at all?
Yeah. So yeah, so I was just listening to a talk about something that I had actually heard more in the therapy world about piezoelectric effect, right? Which is really the mechanism, but then I was just talking about bone growth. So when bone is compressed, there's some ion exchange and it produces an electrical field, but that electrical field, because of force, produces like trabeculi to build bone in those directions, right? Which means, yeah, you got to move and you got to put force on your body. Otherwise, it destroys itself. If you go to space, one of the bigger problems is to no force on their body. They have to do very specific muscle stuff to try and generate force so that they don't basically fall apart, right? Is one of the concerns over going to space. Well, then I was listening to his talk and they were talking about the piezoelectric effect throughout the fascial system, and this girl was talking about, yeah, you know, when you put force on your fascia, like you lay on a ball and you roll out your leg. And I was like, oh my God, no, it's not the force we're talking about. The internal forces, where muscle squeezes, is also making all this fascial network have to actually move. And when it moves, it's producing electrical field again. So now you got bone that grows based on electrical current, based on force. Now you got fascial relationships that are also driving an electrical current that also makes us feel really good. Then you got lymph system and vascular system. It's also relying on effectively a bunch of sump pumps to move fluid from chambers. And then you go, wow, how can that be bad? You know, those are all like, I mean, I can keep going, but those are all like moving efficiently versus putting force through joints, which allow you to move more load, but eventually kick the shit out of a joint, right? So moving well has all these other ramifications about how your body starts feeling healthy versus moving poorly. Your body's getting some movement, but man, it's being thrown into all kinds of joint spaces that eventually start, you know, saying, look, I can't keep doing it this way. Right. So moving well to me has got, you know, many large sort of factors to it that are going to continue to say, well, there's a benefit, there's another benefit, there's another benefit that most people are just take for granted, you know. And if you said, oh, I move more weight, I'm like, how do you move it? Well, I don't know. You know, where do you feel it? I don't know. I'm like, okay, well, there's first part of the problem, right? I think bodybuilding lifestyle could be something that, you know, putting on my muscle in that area, that direction means, oh, I have to respond because you're putting work there for me to do that. And then when that muscle gets bigger, yeah, all of a sudden now I've got more challenge to that whole system and I got to supply it and I got to feed it and I got to be healthy with it. And then all of a sudden I got muscle that's demanding a whole bunch of metabolic load. And that metabolic load, if you study cancer people, that's a huge thing. As soon as you lose muscle mass, there goes your pot, there goes everything. There, your whole health arc just starts to go down. So maintaining muscle mass as a bunch of us get older is a huge deal, right? And so there are many, many, many benefits just moving well versus just move and like, okay, well, yeah, disperse load. Okay, that's not really what you said, right? Make your body move well, challenge yourself to move well, find a way to make it harder for yourself, right? Like all of a sudden, oh, increase stress, increase my capacity for stress, and all of a sudden all the benefits, all the hormonal responses, everything starts to show up, right? So I find that that's just moving weight and moving poorly, and all of a sudden all the negative sides of fitness start showing up, right?
Yeah, there's some weird stuff in the ECM world. Like I had my guy Fractal on, and you know we'll deal with people that have a lot of problems with like incontinence or something. You know, like the like girls with
Sure,
leak pee
yeah.
and shit, their pelvic floor
Pelvic
issues.
floor, yeah. Pelvic
He
floor
was
stuff,
talking
yeah.
about he has these little dick dudes who get like a small semi where it's like erect but not all erect and they can't get hard all the way, and it's like
Yeah,
that's from shitty
blood
movement
flow
and
pelvic floor. Yeah,
I'm just like,
pelvic
oh,
floor blood flow. Yeah.
that'll get you in doing your shit once your dick starts getting weird. But yeah, it's just
Yeah, once
so
you start losing hair, now you're paying
that's
attention. Now you
always with
start
anything.
losing.
Like, as soon as the dick gets
Yeah.
affected, like, am I dieting too hard? Am I taking the wrong drugs? Like, what's going on?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You just gotta
How
just make
sick
it
am I?
relevant. That's it. Yeah. Once you get it's relevant. Okay, we're good.
I can't get one
Yeah.
out. I'm really fucking sick. So I figure there's a couple of questions that might be good to go over real quick before we do the some of the video
Sure.
stuff. So we can go through these pretty quick. A couple of them maybe a little extra. Let's see. Are you an
Yeah.
advocate for slow eccentrics or controlling the eccentrics with regular cadence?
Okay, so I find slow eccentrics. Obviously, we're talking about some context here, and I'm gonna jump in and I think I believe I know what they're saying. I would say slow eccentrics most often is a bunch of weird, um, like, oh, let me find ways to build rest in. But if I said a controlled eccentric, well, now they have a tempoed something, they're gonna have to breathe through it, whatever. And now we're talking about something that I would call a real true eccentric. I see people that sometimes lock out and find like, oh, I'm doing eccentric, and I'm like, no, you're kind of resting right there. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So there's a few strategies that I might do for somebody who wants to do like oh, holding, I said isometric type of eccentric challenge. I'd be like, show me 1 inch, stop there. And I decide where. Now show me stop there. Now show me stop there. And because they're not going to be stopping when I'm ready to go. It's like, oh no, stop there now. And so it's hard when you're on your own because you're like, oh, I think I'm gonna stop here. It's like, well, you just picked a way to stop and kind of change something, and all of a sudden now you're like, I'm thinking about bench press, of course, but where they think they're doing like a slow eccentric and they're just stacking it and stopping. Like I watched somebody do with that leg extension where I started doing an eccentric load and they started holding it. And I'm like, no, no, you locked out. You're taking a little break.
Yeah.
I want you to actually right away slow down. I want you, as soon as you get there, I want you to go, but now do it for a 5 second or a 10 second, not, oh, stay there for 1 second. And oh, it's like, no, no, you're resting right now. That's what you're doing. So I find if you can do very controlled eccentric, that's way more challenging than what somebody might say is like, oh, I like holding my eccentric loads. I'm like, nah, I think there's way too many strategies to screw with that.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't get weird with it. Um,
Yeah.
this is interesting.
Just
So,
slow it down. Just slow it down. It's like, show me a 1 second. Now show me a 2 second eccentric. Now show me a 3 second eccentric. Now show me a four. But I need it to be moving. So it's like, they'd show me like how to hold it. I'm like, no, no, now you're resting again. Like, just show me you have to actually let it go and not let it push you there. I want you to choose to move, right? I'm thinking about that leg extension again. It's like they show me these weird strategies. I'm like, your brain is so plugged in to try and find a way to save you some energy somewhere, right? You think you're doing a lot of work and somehow you lock something out and shifted something, and it's like, oh, get that little break. It's like, how many guys finish top of a bench press and stand there? I'm like, what do you think they're doing? Do you think they're working hard or you think they're just
dude,
resting?
that's one of the things I love about the Vulture I've been using. That you can't really fucking wiggle
Yeah,
your way out of that
yeah, that
shit.
thing. Yeah, you can't. There's no wiggling out of that. You can't. It's like, oh my god, it's
I mean, I'll put
dragging
that
me
on my
into
hack
that.
squat and shit, and it's fucking like,
Sure, it's
bro.
just dragging you into that load. It's like, oh
Yeah.
my God. Yeah, I
Um,
can't even imagine like a single leg lungy something where it's like, oh, and slow that down.
oh, I
You know
haven't
what I
done
mean?
single
Right?
leg yet. Yeah, I should. I need to put on my harness. Um, this is interesting. I'll give you my perspective, and then you can fill in the gaps because
Sure.
how to address and fix snapping tricep syndrome, because this is kind of one of the things that people get like mad at. Like a lot of the things in the model is kind of like we have like a kind of a roadmap if we know a little more what's going on, and people are like, you can't predict what's
Yeah.
going to happen. I'm like, I can't predict what's going to happen, but I can predict what would happen if I could get that to happen. You know what I mean? It's like
Sure.
I don't know if I can actually get what I want, but I promise if I can change what I'm trying to change proximally, it'll change that distally. But am I going to get that
Hmm.
change? So I mean, for
Hmm.
me, a lot of times when we're looking at snapping triceps, it kind of we look at whether you're wide or narrow, kind of, because it's whether it's more of a like, are you compressing like shit through something else and we got to redirect you, or is it managing like some expansion? And then also you
Mm.
got to think about, where is it happening? Is it happening as you're like extending the elbow? Is it happening as you're coming back? Is it happening on both? Because
Yeah. Does it feel
that's
like you're going through a range
yeah,
constantly and it's
because
like
that's
click, click, click,
different.
click?
And then the other thing we would look at is no matter whatever the going on, you're going to have essentially when you got that medial tricep kind of subluxing over that medial epicondyle, it's like you've got some sort of a mismatch between your humerus and your ulna. Something's in more of an overcoming state. So we would kind of look and see what is more stuck internally rotated. Essentially, you can look at it simple like that. What do you have less room to yield into? So is it more
Mhm.
proximal like the humerus, or is it more distal from the ulna? And then like you can let all that by some table tests and stuff by the structure, and then you kind of piece it together from there because it always going to kind of come back ultimately to like the rib cage and the shape, and are you able to
Oh
actually
yeah.
ground and produce force? Are you able to protract, like really protract, and not just fucking like elevate? So if
Hmm.
you're wider, it's usually about getting posterior upper expansion, like and being able to properly maintain that expansion. Like there might be some local stuff you got to do, but it usually comes down to that. And then with a and now typically it comes down to like getting a better anterior like gradient, getting a better compression, like learning how to produce true IR instead of like your fucked up weird one. So
Yeah,
what are
yeah,
your thoughts?
yeah.
How do you look at this kind of thing?
Yeah, so a couple things what I would ask is like, is this an overhead movement? Is this a push down? Is this a skull crusher? Like, is this bilateral? Is this, on one side? And obviously then you start realizing, shape of rib cage, breathing, something. Typically you're gonna see because you have a floating anchor system like a scapula that is sitting on a rib cage, and it's like, are you standing and pushing in front of you when this happens? Do you have a wrist, pronation flexion thing buried in there? Are you trying to move the handle, or are you trying to extend your shoulder? Extend shoulder, extend elbow, extend wrist. So a lot of times I'll see so much. I'm just thinking about a push down here on an easy curl bar or something like that. I see so much wrist flexion that they don't realize they're trying. So they're building in deviations without realizing it. And then now you got a fixed handle, or the load is heavy enough to create a relative fixed. And then you're seeing the sort of like deviation through radial ulnar stuff that turns into like, oh well, okay, there's a reason for me to like click over something because your humerus is moving in space, and so I think if you had to suss out, again, I'm coming up with like, well, these are the 20 things I might look for,
Yeah.
but it would be again, because you have a floating model, are they on their back and the shoulders relatively fixed to a bench because it's now an overhead, like a skull crush or something? Are you using, and again, very classic, like, oh, I got it. And you're like, did you? Did you really get it?
Yeah. Try with like an
Because
ER position a lot of
you,
times too.
yeah,
Does that
you
change
had
it?
to, yeah. But see, the ER turns into, oh, carry angle, right? So if you're saying, well, wait a minute, here's carry angle, and they're doing this, right? And so the handles are coming in. And like, I don't know why running across the elbow feels like click, So I would say that external rotation in all these means bicep facing front, like whatever, or bicep facing forward. Now you have to respect that there's a carry angle, which means my hands will typically be wider than my elbow, and you're seeing hands inside of elbow. And then for sure, you're now seeing like all kinds of stuff that's gonna feel like, well, you're not running through the joint anymore, you're running sideways through the joint. And so if they had it on one side or both, I'd be like, well, have you had any challenge or trauma to the shoulder? Do you find you tend to grip over that bar? Thinking flexion is somehow that's probably the easiest one to catch. Is just, are you flexing your wrists to drive that down? Are you flexing your wrist to push? Because now you're dealing with all manner of radial ulnar stuff that is like, okay, I'm gonna find a path through that, and your brain is like, well, find a straight line. I'm like, dude, the elbows, this is not a straight line, right? I'd be like, hey, how are you with upward dog, downward dog? Do you find that you're, off one side of like oh, like your little piezoform here? Are you off on one side? Do you feel pressure out here? Versus, oh, I feel pressure across the flat of the wrist, that kind of stuff. Those could be easy clues, right? A downward dog, upward dog should feel like, oh, I can get that flat, or nope, I'm on the side of my wrist. It's like, okay, well, that for sure is going to turn into, that kind of problem. So a close grip would kill them, right? A close grip
Yeah.
press would be like brutal. Oh, it's all in my elbow. I'm like, yeah, you're your side was off one platform and wondering why you can't keep this flat and create this press. So yeah, there'd be a lot of me, 20 questions before and yeah, rib cage for sure. Overhead, well, rib cage. Oh yeah, I don't really have the same scapular motion. Like there would be so many ways to be like, there it is again, And then you have to start solving those problems, right? You have to solving those problems.
That was something I dealt with very little when I was really first starting getting into like working out, and just moving good fixes a lot of shit. You don't necessarily even have
Yeah,
to.
yeah.
So I
Even
don't
if
even
I
know.
was doing, let's say I'm doing a skull crusher, I'm like, hey man, why don't you switch to actually like a neutral two dumbbells as
Yeah,
opposed to, oh, I have to be holding onto a bar and a pronated grip and I can't handle the pronation,
yeah,
so now I'm deviated and there's my problem. So I
yeah.
really like switch handles, make it two mobile things versus a fixed thing and see if that opens up your problem.
What do we like on this? This would be curious to get your response. What's the thing you changed your mind on or found out to be incorrect as you got more experience?
I was probably more of a diva when I was younger. There was like right and wrong and but I because I grew up in this industry with my own injury, like I have a pars fracture in my back. Thank you, football. And it was misdiagnosed. And then when I finally got back in the gym after about 5 months of like, you can't work out anymore, there was a right wrong. Like for me in the past, I think I mentioned this before, right wrong was like, why would you lift it badly? You just wouldn't get the benefit. You won't jump as high, you won't hit as hard, you wouldn't get any hypertrophy, you won't get bigger, stronger, faster. So why would you, as an athlete, why would you would always invest in doing it better because there was this, the side effect you wanted. Just lifting for lifting, and obviously you did it badly, and got back pain or knee pain was never really an issue for me. It was just, oh, my jump didn't get better. So it was always chasing better lifting was more performance related. But later in life, um, when I got injured, I established like a right and wrong based on me. Like if I did it wrong, I had back pain. So on a benefit, it was like, oh, there's a right and wrong. So that part was correct, but my right and wrong was based on me. So if it hurt me, you're not doing it. So if I can't do it, you shouldn't do it. And that I would say has changed over time, where I recognize what my body's ability, proportions, capacity, athleticism, whatever, my affinities, the thing I like isn't always what somebody else is going to like, or where I'm really good might just suck for them. Do you know what I mean? And so where I used me as a template to build most of my programs in the first early part of my career, it was based on shit that I had already sussed out. Like, nope, if it's bad for me, you don't do it. It must be bad because I had back pain when I did it. But I that evolved for me to sort of look and say, wait a minute, there is better ways to do things. That's not the bad message. But because it doesn't work for me, doesn't mean it's not going to work for you.
Yeah. That was like before I understood some of the like the narrow ISA structural differences and stuff. It's like I really could identify with some of my people. Then the other ones I'd be like, you guys are like, I don't know. Yeah, I can't
Yeah,
put
yeah,
myself
you
in
are
your
aliens.
shoes.
What the hell? Yeah, yeah,
Like now,
yeah.
like now I can empathize a little bit better. But
Yeah,
um
even exercise selection turns into like, oh man, you can handle that. No problem. You're built for that. Oh yeah. You can go that low or you can go that deep or, you can visit some of these things that, oh, that's never going to fit for me, but cool. You
yeah.
know.
Like a hinge. That was always the biggest one because I'm meant to just carry shit on my back, like leaned over. Like I'm meant to just hinge all over. I'd be like, what do you
Yeah.
just hinge. You can squat
Yeah,
perfect.
yeah,
Why
yeah.
can't you
My
hinge
my
perfect?
little short waist is like this. I'm like, just hinge, man. Whatever. Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I'm like literally like this. Boom. Weights on the ground. I'm like, why can't you do bent over rows like this? And everybody's standing there. I'm like,
yeah,
why can't you just go over?
do that.
Yeah. Those longer waist assholes can't do it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a longer waist with short legs, so I mean, but wide as ISA, so like I'm stable over there. Um,
Sure. Yeah.
how do you grow a six pack? My people, like some of you guys send me the weird fucking questions. Are y'all afraid of everything? Like some of you,
Yeah.
like I don't want to make people afraid. That's not what I try to do. But this person
Sure.
asked, how do you grow a six pack without causing superficial rectus strategy? Was like, that's what you're doing when you're training your six pack. I mean, you should train your deeper
Superficial
abs.
rectus
But
strategy.
it's like
Explain
if
that to
you
me.
like say you're training your back extensors, train your extend when you're training your back extensors, but don't do that with everything else. Kind of same thing with your abs. Like fucking crunch, use your abs. Like if you want to train your like six pack abs,
Yeah.
just don't do that
Oh,
on
it's so
everything else.
yeah, it's so funny, but people have and again, I ran into this. I think we talked about this last time with One of the glute coach guys, was like somebody saying something about something turns off. And I heard another like therapy high level trainer say the same thing. Well, if you do this, it turns off. And I was like, "Wow, fuck. Okay, guys. So nothing turns off. The whole body has got a reciprocal inhibitory response, but it's mediated by the other side. So it's not like saying if I do flexion, my erectors don't work. I'm like, no, no, they're on. They're loading eccentrically as much as your flexors are working. And so, funny enough, when people are thinking everything's on one side, there's nothing going on the other side. I'm like, no, no, that's how a joint system works, right? A joint system is, oh, bless you. A joint system is
Yeah.
working around mediating these two things on both sides or in both directions all the time. So when people are thinking, they're only on one side of an axis, I'm like, no, there is no one side of an axis. There's who's shortening against who's lengthening, like a tug of war that's constantly happening. And I find trunk training is funny because they're like all off.
Yeah.
Like what, like and I'm like, what are guys? It doesn't work that way. Otherwise, it would be ridiculously unstable. Like all in the front and then nothing in the front. And what I find, even like a simple thing like a cat cow, and they're just let go. And I'm like, no, no, a cat is like fucking, you're throwing up, right? Like that's what, like, you ever seen your cat throw up a hairball? That's what you're looking at right there. And then, but if you arch the other way, your erectors are now overpowering your flexors. But where do your obliques fit in that model? Where do your obliques fit in that model? They're erectors and flexors. If you look at your shirt and you look at the side, you go, well, there's the front panel on your shirt and there's the back panel on your shirt. Well, your obliques, internals and externals, sit on both sides. So what the heck do you think they're doing? Oh shoot, they're actually extensors and flexors at the same time. Yeah, they just decide who's getting shorter. That's it. And they facilitate that. So I find the whole, I don't want to somehow overload my erectors, or I don't want to overload my rectus, or I'm like, dude, you should not be afraid of stuff. You got to explore, right? And
Yeah.
abs, to be honest, is the one thing I'm like, nobody trains enough abs. I'm like, guys, somehow we're all worried about being some thick ass like CrossFit girl. And I'm like, the amount of bodybuilders that say that to me, I don't want to look like those girls that do CrossFit. I'm like, do you realize how much ab work these girls are doing? And you're looking at girls that don't even dieted down. Like, do you realize like we're all ripped under here? Right? We're all shredded under whatever you got, like you change your diet, man, he's ripped. It's like, yep, change his diet, he's still ripped. Yep, he's just shredded under there. You just see fluff on the outside. But are you strong? Oh, no, I never do anything. I'm like, well, then at your peril, man. Like,
Yeah.
breathing problems, rib cage issues, back pain, like hernias, diastasis, like you got all kinds of issues that you need to be worried about.
Yeah, they never talk like that back in the day.
Well, all it's is I just want a showpiece. I'm like, then diet, man. That's it. That's it. You want to get ripped down there, just diet. That's fine. Good
let's
luck trying to lift something, but go ahead.
let's try two more questions. I don't know. These are some good ones.
Sure.
Let's try this because maybe we can take this somewhere. So, training strategies when dealing with reoccurring proximal hamstring tendonitis. And so,
Oh
I,
boy.
I mean,
Bilaterally or on
that,
one side or both.
that's all I got.
Reoccurring. So, or what's the first part of the question?
Training strategies when dealing with this reoccurring proximal hamstring tendonitis.
Well, okay. So obviously, I probably look again reciprocally, like we're talking about with hip flexions and even hip flexor type stuff that you are dealing with. We obviously, I don't have an athlete in front of me to look and see or assess and look at foot function to even pronation, like internal rotation, pronation, tibial motion could be one of these things that's missing. And the person has got no tibial rotation on one side. And guess what? They're hinging over, thinking they're lengthening their hamstring, and they're externally rotated. And all you get is that, like, oh yeah, proximal, like what's going on, because they're already tipped over, So again, I would probably look into, foot function type stuff, weight pressure. Obviously leg length discrepancy could be very muscular, right? That'd be something that I would look into. And I would look at, if we were just talking about training stuff, I might be like, yeah, look at the other side. Why are your hamstrings working that hard? Do you need to do more hip flexion, trunk control, hip flexion stuff because your hamstrings are a restraint because there's not enough guys on the front. So the back says, all right, hit the brakes. You know, that might be, again, just throwing bullets out there, but that might be some things to look at. Because
Yeah.
who trains hip flexion? Right?
I
Who
uh,
trains any hip flexors? Right? I'm
I
like,
I do every
oh,
day. I know it's so underdone.
well,
People
some
get
of
rid of
us do, but
all the gyms are
the
getting rid
rest of
of
us
the multi
don't.
hip, and that's the best way to train your hip flexors, and I don't know why the
Yeah,
gyms start doing that, but I mean, when you're anytime anyone asks me a question like this, it's like it comes down to just do what you can't do. I know that can be hard to identify, but like,
yeah,
can you not get the fucking shape required at all to begin? Like you were saying, like because I see this happen sometimes. If people are getting that, like it can be two things, right? You could just be so tipped anteriorly on the one side
yeah,
yard
yeah.
that it's getting really pulled, like physically
Sure.
hit, but it could also just
Yeah.
be pulled back and just shortened. Sometimes you
Yep.
feel that
You
because it's
could
so
see
fucking
either one of those scenarios, whether you're this way or this way.
yeah,
But then you say, well, wait a minute, why am I backwards? And then I have no dorsiflexion and I'm externally rotated in my tibia. And so therefore, oh, now I'm twisted this way, or I'm twisted from the other side. And why am I twisted? It's like I'm no dorsiflexion and I'm externally rotated from the other side, and now I'm tipped over into full anterior on the other side. So I would be more if I'd ask that question, be like, uh, one limb, single limb, multiple times injured.
yeah,
Any therapy? What did you do? What exercise, brings this out? What exercise brings this out, versus everything,
yeah.
are we talking about full sprinting, jumping? Are we talking about running? Are we talking about, I just bend over to, whatever? And or I'm talking about, it only happens when I squat, or it only happens when I get that deep in a deadlift, or it only happens when I do RDLs with this load. And I'd be like, okay, we'd have to explore a bunch of that stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Like what's the failure point? Is it you can't even acquire the shape and breathe and manage gravity? Do you need to put you on the ground first, like so you can do that, or can you get the shape and you just can't transfer force in there, or do you get
Yeah, or I put
fatigued
you on
quick?
I do a hip bridge and you go, whoa, there it is. And it's
Yeah,
like, is it both hips? Is both hamstrings? Is it one? Do we have, lack of adductor challenge here? So hamstrings taking over as one of those extensor kind of models, right? Like, yeah,
yeah.
I'd have a million questions.
But usually, I mean, usually what I see with this kind of shit is it ultimately is like you're not funneling IR good usually through the ground.
Oh, for sure. Yeah,
That's
you
usually
are you're typically externally rotated at the worst time,
yeah,
trying to hit the brakes on something. So I would then explore, even if I wanted to play with ramps or something like that
yeah.
to try and drive you down and in. And then we'd have to peel some weights back to, see, oh, yeah, I don't feel it till I'm at this load. Well, let's go back and load and make sure we're correcting it versus, you're doing something shitty and then we progress to load and it just gets worse. So, yeah, I would probably want to explore a ton of those type of questions.
Yeah, I got a guy who always deals with this, and I only see him once or twice a week, and he's not like a serious guy and with about it. He does what he does, but it's like his is on the left side, and he's got that same left ilium forward kind of thing, right? So
Yeah.
a lot of times you see that, and so for him, he's like, "Oh, I need to stretch this," so he'll like anteriorly tilt and lean over and try to stretch that out. I'm like, "You're feeling a pull because it's already so pulled."
Yeah, it's already maxed out.
Yeah, so like you gotta
Yeah, we got
figure
to
out
actually
what your
work,
issue is.
yeah, or we got to work on the other side as to why you so tipped over that, and you're just, kind of talking to the thing that's barking, but it's like, why is he barking in the first
Yeah,
place?
when we
So,
get him pulled back on the side, it's awesome. It just doesn't stick, for him.
oh, yeah. So that's where you have to find some strategies around like what's the actual issue versus the workaround. So, some
Yeah.
as a trainer, you're left in a model of like, well, it's going to do a workaround,
Yeah, I
you
mean, his issue,
know.
he's got pins in his fucking ankles from falling off a fucking ladder, and
Oh, there you go.
he's
See,
like,
this turns
we're
into
just,
there's some reasons why we have those strategies.
yeah,
There you
we're
go.
just managing. So I'm gonna go ahead and
Yeah.
pull up some of these videos. We'll look at a
Yeah,
couple
for
of
sure.
these. Um, Shout out to John, he's awesome. He watches some of these. Um, okay, cool. All right, so I have not looked at any of these. We're just gonna see what we got. This guy's pretty yoked. I don't know who this is. Can you see? Are
Oh
you
yeah,
on?
he's pretty big. Yeah, he's good.
Are you there now? Can you hear me?
Yep, I can see it. Yep,
Okay.
I can see it.
Okay. I just can't see you.
Oh,
Okay.
that's some decent weight.
Yeah, this dude's you look fucking Cool, dude.
Yeah,
Beard tatted
good
up on
for
chat.
you.
And so he's the more kind of narrow looking ISA, and I think he is, maybe not, but that's really good if you are. This looks pretty solid if you are.
Yeah.
I'd like to get a
Yeah.
slightly side view, but what are you seeing? What do you think?
Well, the question would be, what do you want to train? You know, how much do you care about going that low? You can see a certain point there's a change in strategies here, but I mean, I
Yeah.
don't see anything that I would be like, oh, this is terrible. I see a belly forward, I see him hinging, I see him pushing. If I look down his feet, there's just a small when he gets that low, there's just the tiniest little external rotation that he's dealing with. Just yeah, kind of like between mid shin and sort of his bottoming out. I think I'd probably stop him a little bit higher than he is,
Yeah. Yeah, I would say
you
just a
know?
hair sooner and a hair forward with your
Yeah,
whole center of mass,
yeah,
just barely.
yeah.
Got safety squats.
Yeah, I love me some
These are
safety
hard.
squats.
This
Yeah,
bar
good for
this is a
him.
heavy bar. This bar is fucking hard.
Yeah, he's got a decent amount of load here. That's great.
Yeah, this is
Yeah, look at that. That's great. I don't really see. I mean, again, control the bottom. You know, I don't see any collapse. He's able to stop, start.
that's pretty solid.
Nothing really like nothing. He's great.
Check
Keep
one
doing it.
more.
Keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean,
See
literally,
right there. You see the elbow position doesn't change.
yeah.
Right. That's usually what you're going to see is the elbows start winging around if it's an actual load. Obviously, safety bar different versus than a bar on your back per se, but I don't see anything that comes out of stack. Everything looks like a track. He's got them long tibias for sure.
This just looks
You
hard.
know,
That just looks
yeah,
hard for you, but it
but
looks good.
like,
It just looks hard as fuck to manage all that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. He looks great. Again, good job.
Yeah, I was
Tattoos
gonna
look
look at the
awesome.
head. The head was up. The feet weren't really moving around. The toes
Yeah,
came
you
up for
you
a
can
second,
usually
but
see
not
that
bad.
kind of you can usually see that kind of braking mechanism when you see
Yeah,
like head bob or breathing change, or you'll see like the knee track forward a little bit, or that looked great.
yeah, it was pretty
Congrats.
solid.
Yeah, the only thing I
Um,
would change is that stiff. I would just take some of the range off. That was it,
yeah,
you know.
I would switch. I put a
And
little
obviously
bit
it's
more.
3 plates aside, so it's not a small weight to,
No, not at all.
slow down here. So he's definitely a strong dude. That's great.
This is good. I was seeing if there's anything I missed. I mean, I'd be curious from a slightly different angle. Maybe we can find some, but that's pretty good.
Yeah.
These are cool dumbbells. Oh, this is my guy Sean. This is slick. All right, so what do we got? Just a flat press.
Yeah. Doing some breathing. Yeah. Oh, these guys have been working pretty good. Look at this. Yeah.
What do you think
So
about
he's
here?
holding it. No, he's holding pretty good. I don't see any tapping toes. He looks like I don't see any real strategy change at the bottom, which is really great. And you see it converge, right? You see it converge. He's getting a little tired here.
I feel like it's actually
He's
looking better
He looks
now.
great.
I'm gonna start
He
at the
looks
beginning.
great.
And nothing looked
Yeah,
bad, but when I look at this beginning, I
oh
feel
yeah, but just we see him kind of angling a little bit, but once he settles in, he's fine.
yeah, I just feel like in the very beginning, a couple of these reps are like you don't have that
Yeah, they
true
are. That
yield at
see
the
that
bottom. That was
see that big arching change there. So the first 2 reps, I think it's a little tired and he finds it. Like, yeah, there now he's kind of good.
this is
There
pretty
you
solid.
go.
Just for him, probably what I would do, buddy, is just maybe tighten your elbows a hair, just because I know where you
Yeah,
are. I know how you are pretty tight and posterior expansion wise. Like that might help maintain a little bit. This looks
like a
pretty
little
solid.
external rotation, you mean?
Yeah,
Is that
like
what you're talking
barely.
about?
Maybe turn the thumbs a hair out,
Yeah,
elbows a tiny bit, just to
yeah.
maintain
But you
more.
can see the dome of it, you know
Yeah,
what I
this is
mean?
good.
And I think the first 2 reps are probably his worst.
Yeah, no,
And
this
then
is
he
pretty
kind of
solid.
gets, do you know, we
Hands
talk
looking.
about sort of some fatigue sort of sets in, and then he finds a strategy and it's like, okay, now I can load this,
Yeah, this
you
looks pretty
know?
solid. I mean, the left side might be
Yeah.
having a little trouble with IR, might be a little heavy
Well,
on
you
the
see,
outer hand.
he starts, I mean, again, we're really nitpicking here,
Yeah,
but he doesn't finish his reps at the end. But I think that's a strategy too, where he kind of feels it in his pec.
yeah.
Yeah. See, there's a little straightforward thing here in the first 2 reps where he looks like he kind of can't figure
Do
it
you see
out.
this left hand a little bit too?
Yep.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's again, we're nitpicking. That's very minor, but yeah,
Yeah. I mean, yeah, we're just being assholes
yeah,
right
that
now.
looks good. No, but that's why
Yeah.
they want to be perfect. That's good, Sean. Um, okay, I fucking T-bar rows, man. I don't love
Uh,
T-bar rows, but
T-bar rows just don't fit so many people. Like,
yeah,
so do you see how his left arm is probably the easiest one to catch, right? So there's just this little wiggle where he's not in the same plane as the movement. See how his elbow doesn't match.
At the
So if
bottom or the
he's
whole time?
no at the top there, you see at the bottom, it's harder to see because it's going to look like he's got to come way inside. This should drive him to internal, and he's already see how he sneaks to external, but the handle doesn't do that.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So
Yeah.
he's left with trying to almost like his
Yeah,
wrist
yeah, I
elbow.
got you.
Do you see what I mean? He's going
Yeah.
into wrist extension and his elbows almost ends up under it. So I'd be like, look, man, drop to the lower handles.
Yeah.
Um, Unless you really choose to do this and take a shit ton of weight off and do it as an actual like wide, and represent your elbow path, your bicep would represent the path of that handle.
Yeah.
And so it's like, well, that's gonna suck because that's pretty wide, and you're gonna end up with like a very delt driven
Yeah.
mid back thing as opposed to he almost wants to look like a handle in between these two.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Do you know what I mean? He looks like he wants like one handle position is just one bit lower than that.
A lot of this gets fixed if you guys just think about those contacts. If you had a little more of that inner hand contact, the elbow would
Yeah,
IR, the humerus would
yeah,
IR a little bit.
yeah, and it would match that handle position. So
Yeah. So here's pressing.
nice. There's some long arms.
What's your weight, bro? Can't see your weight. You just doing the bar or what?
And he's moving that bar great. 17 plates
Yeah, he
aside.
does got some long arms, huh?
Yeah, he's got some really long arms.
What are you thinking here? This
All right,
seems
so you
fair,
just
man.
see how he starts to move his leg. These are these sort of clues that you start seeing rib cage, spinal things. Like I picked on Trell for that one thing where he had his legs off the ground and one leg is winging out. And I'm just like, dude, it's a spinal problem. And then all his little followers just jumped on me like
Oh,
I
that's
was saying,
hilarious.
how dare you attack Trell?
That's
He's
so funny.
lifting planets in his arms. And I'm like, I do like the guy. I'm just telling you, this is like a you got one leg swinging out and the other leg's dead straight, even though they're both hovering off the ground. It's a spinal problem. Yeah. No, no, no. It can't be the spine because he's on a bench.
Yeah, they're fucking these kids.
It was just like a young kid. I was like, oh my God. So, all right. So he's got some long arms. I would probably widen his grip here. Do you see
Yeah.
how his elbows, do you see how he ends up kind of folded in here a little bit?
Yeah.
So I would think 90 degrees at the wrist so that with those long arms, you're gonna have to go a little wide, just a smidge wider, and
Yeah.
that probably feels like that fits pretty well. I don't see any real throwing and catching. This is great, you know.
Y-
But again, just don't be fooled but with depth. That's all. Don't be. I don't know about the load here, but I would go a little bit wider so he can feel 90 degrees at that wrist. Fairly simple. And then you're not unless he was trying to do some kind of narrow grip thing, which I doubt he is at that width.
No, I agree with you on
Yeah.
that. Here's our man David. He's looking pretty ripped right now. He's posted on IG.
Yeah.
So we got the single
Doing a
arm.
high vertical. High
Yeah.
vertical. Oh, good reposition. So the other thing I see here with a bunch of the younger guys is this sort of drive the shoulder down feeling. Um, again, I'm nitpicking right now. It looks like he's trying to get his elbow to a path. See that sort of side bend he's kind of buried into? This is kind of all, and it's a decent weight. He's moving a decent weight, so he's got to put some leverage on that.
Yeah.
He's got to deal with his trunk. So his trunk is being pulled laterally to the right and he's trying to figure it out, or he's leaning to the right, and I'd be like, "Why are you bothering? Why would you lean to the right?" So I see this a lot where the young guys start to lean into that, trying to create almost like more pressure on the anatomical cam of their lat, and I'm like, okay, but think about let's say even simply from your world, what's happening to the rib cage right now,
On the
right?
right.
He's yeah, on the right. What do you think he's doing on that rib? Let's see how he's starting to he has to keep repositioning himself, and so it just looks down, 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 right?
Hmm.
Yeah, I would just, when you see him swing out to the side behind, you see how much side bend he's dealing with here. So he's
Yeah.
leaning
Usually,
into it.
usually I don't anchor here. I mean, sometimes I'll anchor there if I'm doing something specific. That'll be my left side usually, but I like to like
Yeah.
let that breathe. I almost want to
Well,
almost shorten the other
I'd
side.
almost lean him the other way.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. I
If I
almost
was
want to
really,
shorten the other
but this is
side.
what all these young guys do. They lean into the weight. It's like, I don't know if Kaz is doing this to, kind of weirdly maximize this. Did you get that video I sent you with the cadaver, the shoulder
Yeah,
blade?
yeah, that was cool.
Okay, so think about that. You
Yeah,
didn't have to
exactly.
lean into the shoulder. the shoulder is going to wrap around, right? So like that cadaver we watched, like the shoulder blade is the whole part of lat is tucking under that bottom tip of the scapula, and it's going to wrap around the rib cage to go forward. And so when they start leaning into it, well, what are you doing? You're starting to take away some of that opportunity for it to wrap around more. So yeah, I would just lean him the other way.
Yeah.
I would just lean him the other way. It is most of this looks fine.
And then what
You
do you
know,
like to
it's a
do? Do you lean the other way and then come back to like a middle or what?
yeah, probably. I would probably make it a like because you got lat as a spinal lateral flexor. I might say you could kind of play. It's not as big as most people think, but I'd almost be like look for thoracolumbar fascia at the top of that range, and try and lean away to
Yeah.
maximize that, and then see how they can almost pull themselves up the bench. See how he looks like he's trying to go down the bench.
Yeah.
I would be like, hey, I want you to go up the
Well,
bench.
think like I mean, I tell my people when they're doing pull downs, think you're doing a pull up, you know?
Yeah, yeah. I invert it all the time. Say, I want you to think you can pull yourself up that cable stack
Yeah,
and
exactly.
watch them. They all just like, oh my God, that's totally different. I'm like, yeah. Yeah. So see how much strategy is built in here. So this is a lot of just scapular depression that I think is overdone here. Now, I don't see the forearm in a bad angle, which is great. I don't see him really muscling it too far. But how much bicep do you think he wants to use on this?
Well, dude, he's got really great biceps.
Yeah, but why does he need biceps?
Exactly.
If it's straight line, why would you feel you're pulling this?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Unless you've made this about arm pulling,
Yeah. Yeah,
right?
definitely like I think about like the reciprocal action of my ribs usually on a lat
Yeah.
pull.
Yeah. So I would just say, look, you're really not letting your like this is shoulder on scapula, like arm on scapula more than scapula on spine. This is the same guy, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I would just see this. I mean, obviously can't see the speed, but it kind of looks like we're back to just pushing weights here a little bit.
This looks better right now, actually, right? Just a little bit.
Yeah, the first couple looked a little
Yeah.
different.
Looks
There
like
you
he
go.
found his footing a little bit. It's
Yeah,
kind of like
see
you hit the ground running, trying to
the
find
first
this.
couple are just like move, weight,
Yeah.
A, B here.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
would
that's the
say
little A, B strategies.
yeah, right about now.
Yep,
Yeah.
there. Yeah, see how
That's
now
funny.
you see the path?
Yeah.
Yeah, so now we got some really
That
like,
looks
oh,
good.
I had to figure it out.
These
Yeah,
people
those are
have it so
great.
hard. I know how he is. He's one of these narrows who just can't fucking anchor themselves, so they're going to be kind of all over the place.
Yeah.
This for him, this is so good. I know this is so fucking hard to do for you.
Oh, that's great. There you go. There, good rep. Yeah.
Yeah, I would think about the
Yeah.
hands on the
So the funny
leg
part, like,
weight.
look,
Yeah,
I'm looking at the second last rep and going, really good rep.
yeah.
Right? Like, how many times you're like, oh, he finally
He
dialed
slowed
it
it
in really
down.
hard
We always talk
and
about him
everything
going way too
slows
fast.
down.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, he's just doing this fast.
So you just got to get the wrist a little bit more, get a little more on that the first contact point on the
Yeah.
hands. That'll help a little bit.
Yeah.
So whatever, if you got to pronate or supinate your wrist a little bit, that's fine. Whatever it takes to like get those contacts. But
Yeah. It is really about a contact. Doesn't look, he's not wearing wrist guards, is he?
no,
No. Doesn't just like a watch or something. Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Sometimes I see guys doing that with straps and stuff. I'm always like,
I
okay,
know. I fucking
interesting.
hate that. This is interesting because I think this is a hard machine to do. A lot of people fuck this up, so I wanted to get your take on it.
Yeah. So, I mean, the angle on the wrist is the problem
Yeah, I mean,
here.
go back
Like,
right away with your hands a little bit, right?
yeah, it's just a really rough thing on the. I'd almost use this just for scapular motion and
So you
screw
mean
up
just in
the.
general, the machine kind of sucks, or what?
Yeah, I would
Yeah,
use this just as like a either a pec minor or a
yeah, yeah,
rhomboid
yeah,
kind of
yeah,
thing, where I would just say keep your arms straight and just make it a shrug.
yeah.
I'd keep your this the angle is just so poor,
Yeah, that's what
you
I was
know.
wondering. I don't love. I mean, I've used some seated dips that are
It
better
looks
looking than
fine
this
right at the
angle.
end, but then it sucks, right? Like your
Yeah,
elbow's doing that weird deviation. You got all this ulnar deviation to try and press it out. It
yeah.
just feels like wrist stress for nothing,
Okay, so in
you
general, you're
know.
just not a big fan of the movement. I wasn't sure. I haven't done this. Just
I don't mind a machine like this. It's just this one's not very
yeah,
well
this
set
one
up.
sucks too. Yeah, I like this.
Yeah.
The old like Life Fitness ones are actually okay.
If
Um,
you had like a T handle on the end of this,
yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
you know, maybe, but this is like, see the wrist angle. It's just brutal here.
yeah, that's a hard one. So we have two different
Yeah.
angles for dips, and the dips are pretty interesting. Check out the dips. This guy must love some dips,
Oh, he does dips. Wow. Look at that. He loves his
right?
dips.
I mean,
He loves his dips.
I
No
wonder if that's why he was doing
problems.
the other machine. It's just like another
Yeah,
form of
man.
dips. But I
Yeah,
mean,
no problem. I'd stay on this. So look, 90 degrees at the wrist. right? His forearm just hovers there. So everything is hinging around, right? And
Yeah.
he's driving through. Yeah, he's great. So never leave this machine. Yeah, a little more pec challenge here, right? Having to hinge over, a little more pec challenge to have to be piked like that.
I mean, I would just say don't look down so much, but not
Yeah, I
not even that
want to. I
much.
mean,
Just
the big thing is when the chin drops down, your collarbone really
yeah,
moves poorly.
exactly, exactly.
So as soon as you take away the curve in the neck, you're changing a bunch of things you don't really realize. But sometimes you can move more weight or you whatever, and so it's a strategy. That's all.
Yeah, yeah, these are pretty solid.
Yeah,
That's the only thing I can say is just don't tuck so hard because you do want those
yeah.
collarbones
There you go.
to move a little bit.
Yeah, and here I'd be like, hey, not it's not really chin up, it's more like face up a little
Yeah,
bit.
yeah,
You know, at that bottom, like you feel that edge
yeah,
to want to drop your chin. I just
yeah,
take that away.
yeah.
You know, I literally go up behind a big bodybuilder and hold his chin up. And it was like, oh no, that's my thing.
Dude, it fucks people. Oh, this is my man Mark. Mark is fucking ripped, dude. I think he's using the
Yeah,
Vultra. So I think he's
he's a
pulling from the Vulture here. So I think it's going a little across. I can't tell. Do you like going
yeah. It
across
does.
on
It looks like
rows, or how do you?
no. It looks like a converge. I like it.
Yeah,
He's actually turned slightly to the
yeah,
side. So instead of leaning in, he's actually like rotated away
yeah,
to give himself a little more challenge to the anatomical cam.
yeah.
Right. I
And
don't mind this at all.
I
That's
think and
great.
he's got these on the inverse chains too. I know.
Yeah. Oh, then there's the
Mark's
one I don't
fucking
like.
jacked, dude.
Yeah, that's it. It feels like this angle just doesn't fit him as well. Like I
He's
think I
he's
would
really
probably
limited with upward rotation in his shoulder. Yeah,
oh, is he? Okay, all right.
yeah. So I might even
So
have you
this
lower this, buddy, even like one notch or two notches.
yeah, I feel like I want to put him on the floor or something for this angle. Like the angle just feels like it's not awesome for him there. And
Um,
I would probably screw with a little converge on that. You know what I mean?
on this one,
Like instead of leaning him over, I'd be like, just move the bench over. Don't
yeah,
line it up in the center and just like kind of deal with more um yeah, I just move the bench over and make him actually have to like again, he did a really good job rotating away. Now he's rotating towards, and it just looks like the shoulder blade doesn't really move as well here.
I
Yeah.
wonder
So
if double check.
yeah, so
Like
that's just like I want my elbow or path
I don't think he's
here.
got the supination. I think he's got to stay totally
No,
neutral.
yeah, he's neutral
Because I
grip here.
programmed this as
He's
supinated, but I don't think he hasn't been doing I haven't worked on it
yeah,
well, but I don't think he's got the space to
no,
ER. So he kind of turned it neutral as he's going because I think he realized a
yeah.
little bit of
You
that.
see how he's just staying that neutral grip. So I would just
He
manipulate
doesn't
a little
connect to that
bit.
one that well too. So I think we should
Well,
tweak
of
that
the
one.
two, I'm like one looks great, and one looks like this doesn't really look like for a guy that's obviously built and is moving some weight and take care of himself. This one looks like
I
kind of
mean,
a
what
waste
do you
of his
think? Just
time.
get him up and back and not having him forward as much,
Yep,
changing that
yep,
angle. Yeah,
yeah, for sure. Yeah, if I
but
just open his rib cage up a little
yeah,
bit or
just
change his
chin
angle,
up a little
and all of
bit.
a sudden he might be like, "Oh, look, he's all
Yeah,
folded over here,
yeah. I
a
think there's
couple of
just
different ways."
too much right side compression.
So
So
once his rib cage drops, now the shoulder blade's like, "Oh, I know the shape." And then he's like, "Oh, now I'm going to do this with just my forearm." That doesn't make any sense.
yeah. Got the mag grips, which people always fuck these up, right?
Yeah, I actually like them, but most people really don't
Oh,
know what
I
they're
like them,
doing.
but most people get them kind of wonky. Like I think this is a little wonky. What do you think?
Well, they do a lot of wrist stuff for no reason. I'm like, this is to get your wrists out of it, not get your wrists into it.
Yeah,
So he'd have to actually come over them even more.
yeah,
It's
exactly.
meant to, he's see how he's kind of like flattened out
It's
here?
not
You
as
just
bad
need
as I
to,
see, but it is, yeah, pretty. You're not
and
following
he's
the
got
path.
some super long arms, and it's like, okay, how low we gonna go?
I mean, you're using a lot of stuff to do that at that point too, like structure
Yeah,
wise.
there's a lot of bicep stuff in here that he doesn't need. It's a lot of pull handle. You know what I mean? So if I got under him, I would just be like, I would just like put my hands under his shoulders and say, "Move me out of the way. It's nothing to do with
Yeah,
your handles right now." Right? He's just trying to pull down. So you see that it's not terrible. I'm being mean now, but that see how the shoulders sort of stay elevated there. So
yeah.
it's like they just don't drop
They don't
out.
finish. Yeah,
And he just when he goes up, he just isn't wide enough. Like he has to almost wrap his arms around the mag handles to it's like force you to come out more.
yeah. They should be a little more IR even. Yeah,
Yeah, see how he's got like like almost an extended position. He should be flexed at his wrists. He's trying to. He's almost like, and again, I don't know if it's handle fit or whatever. It's just okay, this works. I'll pull down.
A lot of times
It's
I don't
really
have people
weight.
lock their arms out on these ones either and just get the shoulder blades all the way up, you know?
Yeah, I mean, you could take away the top inch and probably, yeah. See, he's taking a, yeah. No, it's all hand pulling here, and it's heavy enough to make him stop. So he's definitely pulling hard with his hands.
So you would
Yeah,
just
this
have
is
them get
this
over
is
the top
pull
of the wrist
down.
a little bit more.
Yeah, I would just get him to go way over it,
Yeah,
and
dude, you
then
got
just
long arms, man.
and then not as much range as he thinks. Really, it's like it's
Yeah,
probably nowhere close. He just thinking, I gotta get this to my chest,
yeah,
and I'm like, no, it's not even. I wouldn't even get past his chin.
yeah.
I would say like, don't worry about past your chin, and really kind of get over it more. Yeah, just too low. Oh, there's a narrow.
Right. Yeah, dude,
There's
you
a
are got some
narrow.
long fucking legs, long neck.
Yeah, these are what's with all these long guys? You got all these
Dude,
super
they're the
long
ones that are all
guys.
fucked up, man. It's hard to manage their
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah, a lot of all these long levers.
Yeah. Man, this is it's actually pretty good for all you got for like your structure, buddy.
Yeah. I might take a little off the bottom. The bottom range looks a little too low for him. That's all. See, there's sort of a little wiggle. Look at that left arm.
You just
There's
look
kind of a
so much
different.
in your neck and shit too, though. Like I don't know if
Yeah,
you can
there's just a strategy here of like a little too low.
you got the wiggles going on now. You narrows, you
Yeah.
fucking lava lamps. That's
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty like good directed though.
Yeah, is I'm not too worried about this, but it's just more like you've decided the bar as opposed to your chest,
Like slow it
right?
down at the change of
Slow
direction
it
too.
down. Yeah, show me you can pause and take away about probably an inch or two off the bottom.
Yeah, but your arm position pretty solid, you know,
Yeah,
like
that the path is great, but you can see when he gets really attached to the handle movement, that left arm starts to buckle a little bit there. His elbows start to wiggle to try and figure out like, oh, how do I get the handle that
try to get
deep?
your head back if you can. If it's not one of these fucking machines that pushes your head forward, I hate that.
Yeah,
Nice. I mean,
yeah.
that's pretty like this fucking machine, this
That
Atlantis.
handle, that head position thing is so bizarre.
So this fucks him up
It-
because this is a narrow who needs a pump handle coming up, and this
well,
is
we
like
had a guy last time on a machine like this, right? And he was trying to figure out how to. You remember we were talking about he was had a whole body position that was
I
trying to
can't.
avoid this.
Me and Trell did it, yeah, too.
Oh, it just feels awful. It's like getting your head
I
like
hate this because
shoved forward.
Atlantis is normally pretty good. I fucking hate this. I mean, this is good with what you got, but as a narrow, like you almost need to like slide your butt and body forward so you can lean to have your head not
Yeah,
fucking
you gotta have a
forward.
strategy. You gotta have to have a strategy. Again, this is I think the same thing where this is just too wide. This is too wide. I would just go with the other handles and see what's happening
He's
here
on the
and
narrow
see.
handles. What do you mean?
Oh, he's on the narrow handles. But see, look at the bottom. See how his elbows flare
Yeah, I mean
backwards.
that's too much. Some of that's the head, but yeah, bring that under, like line that up.
So if so his upper arm matches the handle, right? Then it's like, oh, that would take you again. The depth is thing here again, right? It's like lower better. I'm like, not if your elbows are winging back behind you.
Yeah.
So this is still a strategy of push backwards versus upwards. And when his elbows are behind the machine, it's like, well, that's you're not lined up to the
Yeah.
handle, right? Now what they do is then, rib cage up. I'm like, oh no, that's not what I asked for. And I would probably put his legs under him. You see at the end how far his legs are in front of him? Like he's just sitting there.
Yeah, it's a little high too.
You know what I mean? I was just like, get your legs under you, like you're gonna squat and like jump out of there.
I just don't. Yeah, this isn't a good machine for your setup. I hate that fucking head thing because that's a great machine other than
Yeah.
that. It's
Yeah.
so annoying. Like,
It's so funny how some of these really fit some people so perfectly, and then,
well,
oh, this is a great machine. And then you get in there like, oh, this is not a great
yeah, it's not
machine.
good for anyone to have your head stuck there. Like, you can bring your head up if you need to use that strategy. Like, you can lift it up. You don't have it fucking pinned there. Like, that's I hate that. Ugh.
Yeah.
And then look at this spot
Well,
back here under the tit,
look at,
under the tit squat spot.
yep.
What is going on back there?
Oh, that's how I expect you to train
That's
me.
fu- you know, I had a trainer who worked for me.
But look, he's kind of sideways on her though.
Yeah, that's what I'm
See,
saying.
he's
He's
not
like
behind her.
I'm saying
He's
he's squatting
beside
under
her.
the titties, like specifically. That's it. Like, so she must
But
not need
he's
much.
sideways. He's not even lined up, so it's only one arm. Like, see how one arm is trying to.
Yeah, that's
This
that's it.
poor guy's hack squatting, and all we're doing is looking at the other guy.
Dude, I had a trainer who worked for me. He was like a creepy ass fucking Iranian dude. He would hit on all the girls, and he would get behind him and fucking spot them, like grabbing under their tits. And I'm like, we were all Koreans. Like, dude, I'm having so many complaints. To stop fucking being creepy. You're my top producer. Can you not be fucking weird?
Yeah.
I'm just trying to help. I'm
What?
spot. You don't do that to the
That's what I do
dudes,
with the
man.
girls. That's what I do with the guys.
It's not
Yeah.
what you do with the dudes. I watch you.
Yeah. He
But yeah,
grabs the
so
boys by the balls and lifts them up.
that's funny. So I don't like your hack squat, bro. I like a lot of your shit. You've been looking good
Yeah.
lately, but this looks
I
like you're
think
trying to make this
this,
a knee extension move or leg extension kind of.
yeah, I think his feet are too far back
Yeah.
and
People are falling into that
he's,
trap of trying to drive
yeah.
the knees, because your pelvis is
Well,
coming
it's like,
under.
yeah, he's scooped under and yeah, no. So
A lot of your
you're
other
right
stuff
there.
was better.
See the pelvis rocking around at the
Yeah.
bottom. So he's just trying to find some strategies and at that weight, maybe he's okay. As he gets heavier, that's not gonna be okay.
The thing is, people
Yeah.
will
See,
feel
you
tension on the
see him
quads
buckle
doing
at the
this.
bottom. Watch his
Yeah.
knees right at the bottom of this. They just do a little extra buckle in there.
Well, there's no pelvis shape change. It's just rolling
No,
under. And so
yeah,
people will feel a
he's
lot of stuff
asking for
going
some.
on in the
Well, there's a
quad.
lot of shearing. There's a lot of
Yeah.
shearing going on there. So it's like, oh, feel that shear right
Yeah,
there, ding.
this is not the best move, but the other stuff you sent me was better. But I wanted to bring this one on here. Um,
Yeah, no
so
problem.
you can see
But again,
he's trying
it
to
goes back
find
to
it.
where it's, yeah, it's like, yeah. I mean, it's heavy for him. Don't get me wrong,
Yeah, I
but
mean, I don't think
you
it'd be
see
that
how
heavy if his
it's
feet were up a little bit more too. Like bring him up more. Like yeah,
I would bring his feet up higher
yeah.
and probably deal with that longer tibia there.
Because
He's
what
got short femurs, where it's like, oh, dude, what are you doing to yourself? You've
I
been
want to
doing yourself a lot of
maximize
work.
that IR moment on something like this.
Yeah,
Like when you go
for
too far
sure.
back, you kind of go out of that mid propulsion
Well,
phase pretty early.
you just lost it real fast. It's like, oh, I used that back there somewhere. Sorry.
Nice. That was it. Is that our last one, homeboy?
That was everybody. Wow,
Cool.
look at all those good guys. Are
Nice.
those all guys that work with you?
Some of them are just the members.
What about the first guy we looked at?
No,
Is
that
he
big
one of
dude
your
was his
members?
first one. I don't know who that was.
Oh
Most of
wow.
the
You're
other ones
like,
I recognized, I was like, I don't know who this
oh,
dude
your
is.
other guys are all like long, lanky. That guy's like awesome.
Well, he's long and lanky too. He's just jacked on top of it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. It's
that's
like
the conversation I've been having with so many people. And the more I do this, the more I realize it's like these narrow ISAs, these fucking people that can't produce force naturally, like they're so much harder because you got to reorganize their system versus just expand and main
sure.
like Trell and Sergio, they're so easy to work with because it's like just
Yeah.
expand a little bit of their dorsal rostral as a wide and like maintain that and you can fucking
Yeah.
do what you need to
Well,
do. Whereas
it's like firing a cannon from a ship versus a canoe, right? It's like
yeah,
they can't. He's got this big platform to push from.
yeah, where these narrows, they have these kind of faulty trap or rectus strategies, and they don't produce clean force. They kind of like side bend in their spine and do all this shit. So
Sure.
it's just so much harder for them.
I'm getting all these guys with like I'm getting all these people sending me messages about like crazy like dyskinesis and
Yeah, that's the
it's
people
like
that I'm talking about. These fucking people because
ah
they're working out hard and that like for me like I could tell when I was doing something even before I knew like I could tell immediately like there's a language to movement, right? And sometimes it's really easy to tell if you're speaking it or not, you know. And so like for me like it's very obvious if I'm doing something wrong I'm like oh fuck. So the looks like shit in the mirror feels kind of weird. For some people, their shit is so subtle. Like I can tell now, but they can't tell, and I couldn't have told when I was like younger. Like their way that they cheat is so subtle. You know, they can shift it so subtly that they're not even aware of it. So
yeah. It's almost like high speed balancing a tire. Do you know
yeah,
what I mean? Like when at a really at 60 miles an hour, you don't really see it, but you take it up 100 miles an hour. It's like, oh, the car feels like a shit. And he's like, go above that and see what happens. You know what I mean? Don't drive fast, kids, but you take it up really fast, and all of a sudden you feel like your engine's rocking around, the car's gonna explode, and you're like, what? It's like the tires are not rated for that speed, they're not balanced at that speed. But you go down lower and they're fine. You don't feel the rat, you don't feel the rumble, you don't see the wobble, right? But you get them to that level of fatigue, you get them that load, you that time of attention, something, and sure enough, there it comes. Here comes the
yeah,
wobble, right? So that's what I would say is that when you're doing all this exploration of your, stops and starts and all these other things to try and make it harder, you're trying to bulletproof it for that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Because if you've done all the sussing out, you've all done the sussing out at lighter weights, but made it really hard for yourself. Man, you start working through all those strategies and you don't have to employ those. Do you know what I mean? But if you just peak everything to how do I put more load, how do I put more load, I find that's fool's errand, right? And you just start building in these really hard to get rid of strategies, and
I think if you look at it as versus how can I build more load, like put on more loads, like how can I direct it even better? Like how can I fucking
yeah,
funnel it
for sure.
all fucking there? Like that's the way I want you to think
But
about
that's
it.
so much to I mean, obviously you're connected based on what you're saying. You were very connected to like, I didn't put that in the right place. And I'm a kinesthetic learner. So for me, it was always, I've tried more things than most of these guys have ever tried to be like, well, let me fuck that up a different way, or let me find a way to make that harder. And then there's like sometimes you're doing stuff and you're like, well, what did I change? That rep was totally different. Like, wait a minute, what am I really locking into? And then it's like a picture in my head of I just did something else. What changed? What did I change? My grip changed. I extended something, whatever it is. And then I'm kind of like, oh, wait a minute. I find that mistake, which to me is like I just made it harder. That's a success. But but if somebody said, no, no, why would you ever do that? It made it harder to lift. I can't lift as much weight now. I'm like, no, no, that's what I'm always
That's
looking
the
for.
point. Yeah.
That's what I'm looking for. Is how do I find a way to make this terrible, versus how can I find a way to make this easy? And then I'm just adding more weight to the bar so I can just push more weight. I'm like, I mean, we sound like a broken record over and over again, but that's the errand you're after, right? Is find a way to make it challenging, find a way to load it in, lock it in, and then just keep it there until you can't. And now you're back to the world of, oh, these reps now matter. Now you can't move it fast. Now you feel fatigued. Now you feel something slowing down. If you're talking about all these mediated stress symptoms that create hypertrophy, I'm like, you found a way to go faster. You found a way to not load it. You found a way like, well, you're going the other way. You moved a lot of weight, but you did the least amount of work. You found a way to spread it out. You found a way to
That's
find a way to throw it
powerlifting.
into a joint. Yeah, you found a way to be an athletic guy,
You
and
found a way
great,
to A to P
awesome.
compress. Like that's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that's what makes you good at producing force and just moving in space. But that's not that
yeah,
true yield. That's not that absorption that we want. So we actually get those muscles to take all the load and then have to like respond
yeah.
from that yield, from that lengthened position under tension. You know.
Now the crazy part, if you take some of those strategies to somebody that actually has a job to go tackle people, you know what I mean, or to skate faster than everybody else, trust me, they're great at that. But if you start working on some of these like, linking
Oh
mechanisms
yeah.
and you actually like help them dial some of that in, trust me, when they got to put it all together and find efficiency, you're helping them do that even better
That's
too.
that's what I
So,
always say. I mean, some people think the opposite, but I've never been good enough to do something that crazy to where I trained all the
no.
stiffness out of you. Like I don't know.
Yeah, but you know what? It's like, but you're still back to the longevity conversation, right? Like if you get paid millions of dollars to go do something like that, it's like, how long can I do it? Right? How long can I do it? And trust me, when somebody has to make a choice how to swing, for a baseball bat, or how to get something, how to throw a ball that fast, whatever, they're trying to find a way for all that to go where it needs to go. And if you pick out some pieces that are missing, uh, and can explore that, trust me, when they have to do it, and they put it all back together, not thinking through little pieces, they're merging all that. And so that's an immediate place where you can get them to get way more out of that stuff. Their body's smart enough to create that kind of, 99 miles an hour fastball kind of stuff,
Yeah.
right?
What did you watch the Arnolds at all? The UK and stuff?
No, but I did see some of the results. I was like, hey, what's going on? Wow, who did what? Whatever. Was there any like big who did what? Like, wasn't it the classic guys was the big deal, wasn't it?
I mean,
Was it?
Mike came back and won against Wesley, who like I don't like Mike's physique. Like I thought he was gonna win
Uh,
and he should have won,
I
but
might think when he comes in condition, his physique has got some proportions that are
it's
interesting.
weird. I just don't like
That
that
that I'm
I like
not.
the
But if he
delts.
really gets in shape, when he gets really conditioned, I think he's pretty exciting guy.
Yeah, he's
But I I
good.
think but I think Wesley's got a way better shape.
I
Do you
just
know
I
what I
mean
mean?
I just don't
Like he
like
just
the
wasn't as he just wasn't as conditioned, like based on what I saw.
I
Like
can't yeah, no, he
his
wasn't
legs look a
conditioned from
little different.
behind. Yeah, from
Do you
behind
remember his
big
legs
time.
look a little different and stuff? And
His
and
his
I
legs
just
have
thought
come
he,
up, but his hamstrings from the back haven't too much. And then the glutes, like Mike's glutes were just shredded. But
yeah. I mean, I think legs. Mike's got some pretty good lower body stuff. You know what I mean? Who won the big boy classes and stuff?
Andrew.
Oh, it was Andrew, right? Of
They
course.
got a
Look at
million
me.
dollars between the
Look
two.
at me. That's awesome. Well, finally, Andrew, right? Finally, Andrew. My gosh, he
Yeah.
certainly deserved it. Sorry, I spilled something, so I'm
No,
just
you're
cleaning
good.
that up.
I think we
I'm just
talked
like, what
about.
am I going off here? Andrew, I thought looked pretty amazing, to be
Yeah, he's
honest.
looking good.
But I thought he looked better in the last one too, to be honest. So I was like, I think he's been one of my favorite bodybuilders for a long time. I think
Yeah,
he's been one of my favorites. I obviously he's got some proportions that are just crazy,
yeah,
right?
he's
He's got some
wild.
proportions that are just crazy. And then when you see, I know I've seen him like, and all of a sudden he's off to the side, and like you just see silhouettes of bodies, from the distance, and you're like, what the hell's going on to that guy over there? He just stands there like this huge
Dude.
monolith, and you're like, what pointed at that guy? Why is that guy off to the side? You know what I mean? So
Yeah, if you
what do you
don't
think
know
about that? What do you think about all that Nick stuff?
what
Just him like walking off and being pouty and all that stuff.
Nick, you didn't want Martin, you mean? You're talking about Martin.
Oh, Martin, I'm sorry. Yeah,
Yeah,
Martin.
no,
No, didn't Nick have a problem too?
he had a
I saw
problem
Nick walk
privately, I
off at
know, but
some
not
point.
publicly. No, he didn't.
Oh, okay, all right.
I mean, he wasn't like happy, but he shook Andrew's hand. He was fine. I know how Nick really feels, but he didn't. He was fine. He didn't crash out. That was Martin. Martin fucking crashed out.
I don't know what happens with these guys, man. I don't know if it's just like,
He can't handle
check
those
your
drugs.
hormones or
Yeah, I
check your
mean,
hormones. Like, I don't know.
yeah,
Don't shake people's hands and do whatever. I'm like, guys, you're in a pageant, right?
yeah. I was about to say bodybuilding. I was just about to say that bodybuilding's so gay. Like you can't
You're
take it
just
that serious.
you're in a pageant, man. What are you talking about? Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
So I just think they don't really. I just don't. Sometimes they get a little over, like, get really weird. Like I even see junior guys are like, "Oh, we're gonna see who does whatever," and I'm like, "Are we fighting or
That's
shooting
so
each
funny.
other? What's
Yeah.
happening?" You're like they just like, "Oh, we're gonna see who brings the best package, whatever."
Dude,
And I'm just
I
like,
remember I remember this
guys,
guy
you're
told me
standing up there in your underwear, like,
this guy told me he's like we were like talking backstage the whole time. He didn't realize I was in his weight class. He thought I was like classic. And he's like, "Oh, all right, bro, let's go battle. Let's go battle." I was
let's
like
go
first of all, you're
battle.
6 weeks out. You're about to get like fourth place. I'm gonna win this. But I was like, this is so funny. He's like, battle. Like we're just gonna fucking prance
Well,
around in mankinis. What the fuck is battle? Like
yeah,
oiled
like
up.
there's gonna be big. Yeah, we're gonna go wrestle right now. You know what I mean?
That was my first show. I was like, go battle. Okay. I do not look at this the same way.
Yeah, you and I are not in the same place.
Hey,
Oh
that
my
guy's a pro now,
goodness.
actually, and I'm not. So that shows you the mentality.
Well, he kept battling. He kept
Yeah,
battling, and you didn't. That's
yeah,
what happened
exactly.
there.
Well,
Well, you know
sweet.
what though? I think that idea of like it's some mano a mano thing, and I'm like, man, this is a pageant. You're not. It's not even at any time. Who's going? Okay, I'll go there because that guy's not going to be there. Like, just you gotta. It's like you against you, right? Unfortunately, it's you against everyone else, but it's like your job to be the best you can be. And unfortunately, yeah, there's going to be prettier bodies there, or you can only do what you can do. I had somebody put something on one of my YouTube things. It was like, oh, drugs, this genetics basically rules the whole thing. And I'm like, well, that's kind of the whole point of bodybuilding, though, isn't it? Like in the positive way, is that it's you against you, and you can try and work on something with what you got. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And unfortunately, there's going to be prettier ponies out there, and everybody at a certain level is just prettier and prettier and
Yeah.
prettier. And
There's like
you
10
know,
people who could win the Olympia if they did everything perfect. Everyone else could just fight for a top 20 spot, and that would be amazing. It's like you got to have
yeah,
that doesn't mean
just
it's not
getting
worth
to
pursuing.
Olympia, just
Yeah.
getting to Olympia versus, so now I'm going to win it. I'm like, oh, okay, guys, like there's just, you won a regional, you did this, whatever, and then you get up against everybody that's already done all that.
Who do
And
you
it's like,
before I
oh,
let you go? Who do you think like could potentially be an Olympian? Considering the genetics, not maybe where they are right now, but if they had done things like right or perfect, or if they
You
changed.
know what? I actually love Martin's physique, to be honest. I
Yeah,
love his physique. I think him over Derek, to be honest. I think, I wish, I mean, Hattie always comes in really conditioned, and it's hard to beat the shorter guys for if they can get really well proportioned and look big and small at the same time, you know what I mean? And obviously it's harder and harder for the bigger guys to fill out. But when you can get Andrew standing over those guys looking just, I'm just standing over you, and then you see something like Samson who's just going to be standing over you, and it's like,
I feel like
okay,
Regan could have had the potential if he
I I mean, Regan didn't do that well in the last one, but he was just too small.
That's what I'm
Like,
saying. I think he had the
you
potential if
know,
he had been able to. He had his digestion better. He maybe took it.
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know how serious
Look,
he took
man,
it.
he's over 300 pounds now. So
Yeah.
trust me, he's hit the
I mean,
overdrive on the
remember he
big
went to
size.
classic. He's done all this shit. Like I think if he was just only bodybuilding and like didn't give a shit about anything, like he potentially
Yeah,
has the genetics where he could be a Mr. Olympic.
he has some crazy limb, and he's got some big arms,
Yeah,
like just naturally the way his biceps fits. He's got those deep biceps, kind of bigger, thick triceps. He's got that back. It's pretty crazy. He's
dude.
got some great legs. He just even when he's fat, he's not fat. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? So he's thickened up quite a bit. So I put some money on him doing certainly better than he did last time, and putting some pressure on some guys, But he's always so. It's kind of funny. Like you kind of want to see. He's always so laissez-faire. He's always so like, "Hey man, everything's great," or whatever. So I've never seen him
yeah.
get
He
an
doesn't
edge,
have that.
and I've
I
never
think
seen
life
him
is
as an
good for
edge.
Regan. He doesn't have that in him.
Yeah, it's almost like, do you need to give him an edge? I don't know. Like, does he have to get everything's always like, oh shucks, and everything's great, man. So I don't know. You like, do you have to slap him around a little bit? I don't know if he ever gets um that competition edge. You know what I mean? Whether that's a plus or a minus, I don't know. Maybe that's easy. That's the easy part of just, everything's just straightforward and do. He's a good little soldier kind of thing.
Maybe
So,
it's good to not
you
get
know.
stressed. Yeah.
Well, in terms of the stress part, he's definitely doesn't ever. I mean, I don't know. He does. I mean, I don't hang enough of him to see him ever stressed, but I don't think I've ever seen him not got a nice little smile on his face, little half smile, and everything's fine. And how you doing? And everything's good. So he's living life, right? I think he's got another kid coming now.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, he's
Cool.
another boy.
Sweet. What are you working on YouTube right now? What's your next thing?
As I said, I did a session with like a push day. So it was just I had with this pro classic guy that I've worked with before, and I just picked on him once in a while. He's got crazy delts, and really good younger bodybuilder, and we did a push day because it was like I don't really usually do a push day, but okay, man, no problem. And we pretty much I don't know 2 exercises in, he was already like tongue hanging out. So I was like, all right, well, let's see what's left of you for a push day. So I usually like doing a chest front delt bicep kind of day as opposed to, oh, somehow triceps is pushing. I always used to say triceps extension,
Yeah.
so I would typically put it in with a back and a rear delt day kind of thing.
Lee
But
Haney style.
yeah, I usually do that kind of stuff. Everything's going backwards, everything's going forwards. I find that I switched a couple of my bigger, not crazy competition guys, but some of my bigger bodybuilders to that. And they seem to be loving it and seeing all kinds of growth. So it's just so funny because they're thinking back biceps. I'm like, no, just go the other way,
Yeah.
you know? Right. And half the time it's just, oh, they've never thought of putting it together. So I'm like, yeah, man, try that, see what it works.
Yeah, I like that.
But yeah, we're just doing videos. It's usually, I mean, I haven't really got some giant plan. Do you sit and plan all your videos out? Like, here's
Fuck
the big
no. I put up
board
this
or?
video this morning. I don't know if you saw the thing I posted.
Oh no, I
Um,
haven't seen it yet. I think I saw it come up, but I haven't had a chance to watch
yeah,
it yet.
just about scapula. So for like, I just woke up yesterday morning and I was just thinking about this shit. I was like, I'm just gonna fucking do this because I've learned like if something is
Oh, scapular winging, right? Is that
yeah,
what you
yeah.
were talking about?
I hadn't planned that at all. I've been planning other videos, and I was like, not plan, just thinking. I haven't gotten to, and I just sat down with the camera and just said, "Fuck it," because what I've learned, and I'm sure you're kind of seeing that too. I mean, it's like, especially with me, like with my schedule, my on my in person people, it's still full time. It's like if I have like a chance and I have like a something in me, it's like, okay, I gotta get this. I should do it right then. I canceled a client, which I never cancel. I moved her, and then it's like because I just like let me get this done because I don't know when I get this window. Like it's hard for me to get like 3 hours of nothingness. Very hard. So
Sure,
I
yeah,
didn't plan
yeah.
anything. I just did that. I put on record and edited. It took maybe like 2.5 hours to record and edit and everything. Whereas if I'm doing something else, like a scrolling through IG, that's like a fucking 30 hours at least. So
Oh, when you have to do your like review of shit you see
yeah,
and
like
stuff like
there when I'm
that.
editing a lot and like I'm kind of thinking beforehand and shit and
Yeah,
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 like
yeah.
that's a lot. But
Yeah,
this
that seemed like that'd be a huge endeavor.
that's a
Yeah,
lot.
just
I'm
sitting
not
there.
doing those that much anymore, guys. Like
I'm just scrolling through and watch me look at YouTube and pick stuff out. Yeah, that would be a lot. I would think that would be huge. No, I don't do that. I so far I'm doing everything on one take kind of thing. It's just like, okay, here's some questions that some people ask, or here's some comments that I'm seeing, or it seems like this is the number of things that people are kind of remarking on or sending me private messages about, can you explain this? And then it kind of coalesces into kind of an influence of like, "Nah, I think we're gonna do triceps today, or I think I'm gonna talk about this, or but I definitely can see at some point people are like, geez, am I just broken record saying the same thing over and
Nah,
over
no,
again,
you'll be like me. You'll always have a different perspective, something else. Like,
Yeah.
I've learned that. Like, I've got like 50 more videos up queued. I'm like, oh fuck, I'm never gonna run out of shit. You'll be the same.
Well, so far I don't have, as I said, I imagine people sitting around having giant boards of stuff to do, and I'm like,
No, I mean,
no,
I'll make
I
notes,
don't.
but yeah, I don't.
I
Yeah,
have some
no.
notes in my phone of
Yeah,
stuff that I'm like,
exactly.
oh, like I'm sitting up waiting for a plane. I'm like, well, let's do some ideas. Oh, I've never talked about that or that, and so I have kind of a drop down, thing in like notebook of little isms and things that I think are kind of important, or I'll do some cueing of like, well, I'm doing this exercise, what's important, and then I'll do a little, sort of breakdown of something, and then just throw it in my phone,
But
just as an exercise.
maybe I should have you on my other channel. We could break down equipment. You seen my other channel?
Oh, is this your gym,
Yeah, yeah, it's kind of
your
cool. Yeah,
garage gym thing?
yeah,
I
it's
haven't
fun.
had a chance to look at it yet. How's it going?
It's fun. It's almost monetized, and I'm getting like sponsors and shit over there because that's like
Oh,
more the
that's
niche.
awesome.
It's more the niche for it. But yeah, like what I'll do is like I'll kind of I try not to dive crazy, but like I kind of give my biomechanics take on some of the stuff. So yeah, we should do that one day. Let's go over there and let's like break down some equipment. We'll break down the biomechanics of it, like the prime overhead press, some shit that people don't maybe do wrong or think about. That'd be cool because I did like a D hand
Yeah,
video where I broke down
yeah,
different
that's
D
kind of
handles. People loved
yeah,
that.
that's kind of where somebody, again, we had so much different equipment at Pure,
Yeah.
where all of a sudden there's a whole bunch of stuff, or something's moved, or they sold something
Dude, you
on
should just
floor,
do
something
that. You
else
should
shows
break
up.
down the biomechanics of all the machines there because you got so many that
Well, that's
just
where you're just
dedicate
like,
one. Yeah.
okay,
You don't even need
let's
a camera
just
person do that. You
yeah,
just
you just
put a tripod and you talk it.
just little shorts about,
Yeah.
hey man, we're using this equipment. This is important,
Dude, people will
you
eat that
know,
shit up.
because that's generally what you see is just a lot of like, oh, when they see me, like, are you working out? I'm like, no, I'm just fucking around. Like
Yeah.
I'm trying to jailbreak this piece of equipment and figure out like what's the key of this? What do they change? Why is the handle here? Oh, how many options do you have? I mean, there's all kinds of those things to do. And again, it goes back to that sort of me challenging people. Go play. Go play in the gym. Like
Yeah.
this was all the equipment in the world was made by guys that like to weld, and I wonder if I could do that, and then make shit that didn't work and then throw it out, and make new stuff, and we'll modify that, and that pad should be deeper, or whatever. Like it's just them manipulating stuff, and then eventually, those guys sell equipment. Like, yep, they're a bunch
Yeah.
of the Atlantis guy is just a bodybuilder that likes to weld.
Yeah. That's what you're
And sure
saying.
enough, now you got a whole bunch of welders that just work for him, and he just tries everything out, and oh, that feels great. Okay, good, let's do that.
I really like the way they shipped versus all the other companies I use. They just shipped everything separate, like not put together.
Yeah.
They put like a team of 8 people that just fucking put these tin machines together like immediately. It was cool, like
Right,
not
right,
having to
right,
move
right,
these
right.
fucking huge things around.
Yeah. How many pieces do you have in your gym now?
In my
In the
garage,
garage? Yeah.
I've got my rack, which is a Smith machine, functional trainer, squat rack, all that good
Yeah.
stuff. I've got the Explode shoulder press, Nautilus Explode, old school, nice. That's gone up in value a lot.
Nice.
Life Fitness
Yeah.
multi hip because people need to have a fucking multi hip. Just train your hip flexion,
Yeah.
train your other shit.
Great.
I've got
Yeah.
I just picked up the Nautilus Nitro high fixed elbow curl, which
Oh,
all these
wow.
nerds hate because they're like, sorry, I know I got a couple messages from you guys. You guys are nerds, but it's all good. They're like, well, what about the active insufficiency of that? Because you're already up. I'm like, well, I can't recreate this, and that's not my only move I'm doing. I am doing other stuff.
Yeah, it's so funny.
Yeah,
Like, but you're supported, right? So
yeah, I
it's not
totally support
active.
it.
It's not active. And again, ultimately, you're just mediating that anyway. It's so funny.
Yeah,
It's so funny. Like, but what about this one way up here? Like, this would be active
yeah,
insufficiency, not
exactly.
not here. Like,
Yeah,
oh,
I
that's
mean it's
so
a
funny.
crazy stretch distal, like when you're getting there.
Sure,
So,
yeah.
and then I've
Yeah.
got
I mean,
the
yeah, you got to know what you're doing. You
yeah,
can't screw
yeah, you
around.
can fuck
Yeah.
that up. So I replaced my Star Trek leg curl with that, like and then I got the Jim Lanko hack squat. Ooh, that's money. You guys have that one? I think you do.
Do we? I don't think we do. We have so many hack
I
squats and
know. I'm like
stuff.
one of the only people with it in America, including gyms. Definitely the only one in the
I
garage.
gotta ask for that because obviously Dorian's a
Yeah, that's what I was
Janicki.
wondering. Yeah, I thought I might get it from them. And then what else do I got?
Gosh.
I got the squat press from Cybex, the old school. That thing's gone up in value. And then I have the Temple of Gains, who Yoni's my boy. I train Yoni, the owner of Temple of Gains, and I'm one of their affiliates.
Okay.
And
Nice.
they're doing an explode pull down variation that has a chest pad, and so it's got like it can go forward and back, so you could like lean, use it for support instead of the old school
Oh, cool.
support. So
That's great.
and it's got two loading
Yeah.
pins, so you can change the loading a little bit.
What's your square footage in the garage?
It's a two stall, like 2020 almost.
Oh, wow. So you got a lot of stuff. Do you have to like trip over yourself getting around,
No,
or you
dude,
just got to be careful
it's
how you?
super organized right now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. That's
But I mean, it's
amazing.
like I can't do anything. Like I've got everything's on wheels. I put all my stuff on wheels so I can move it around. So like
Oh, good.
I don't have
Okay.
access to wall space. So I move it so I can get access to wall space, and I'll move it to hook onto my rack with the vultures and stuff. But yeah,
Nice.
it's perfect. Like I don't have room to anything else, but it's perfect right now.
Yeah, there's nothing else in there.
No, not at all. I've got the leg attachment for the bench that does the quad and hamstrings. It's a good one.
Oh,
So
there you go.
lion
Nice.
leg curl. So yeah, everything you need. It's pretty solid.
Oh yeah, I want to see it. Yeah, I'll jump on. We'll do another one where just walk through stuff.
Yeah, dude, it's like it's an expensive garage. Well, fuck, dude.
Yeah.
I appreciate it,
Well,
man.
it's just your hobby. There you go,
Well, I'm
right?
working there
It's your
now too,
work
so
for your
it's saving
hobby.
me. I was paying 15 to 1800 a month where I was training, so I'm it's saving me that.
Oh, so you have clients coming to the house now. Oh, that's
Usually,
amazing.
yeah. I still have the other gym if it gets like too hot, which it really does, or if I just
Right.
my mom was here last week. I want to get the fuck out the house. Like I still have the other gym.
That's awesome. All right, buddy. Well, listen, I'll let you go.
All right, man. Appreciate it. We'll link up
Yeah.
soon. Everybody go check out.
Okay.
I'm sure all you guys have. Make sure you go check out Eric's YouTube.
All right. Awesome. Take it easy,
All right, take
guys.
it easy, brother.